The Grim Reaper. I'll have to look into that later. I just can't get it out of my head no matter how hard I try.
You would be nothing without me. Your company would be buried in debt and you'd be begging on the streets if it weren't for me.
I can still feel their stares. The way they judge me with their tiny, empty minds. Pinpricks on the back of my head. Eyes all over me. They don't look at me with awe and desire, but with accusations and disgust. If I don't do something, everything I have, everything I've earned will all amount to nothing.
Honey, I'm home.
I could think of nothing else all throughout the day, and it has left me nervous and agitated. I've done little else but worry about it. Why, I almost shot a thug in the foot for laughing too hard while I was enjoying a sandwich. And I've contemplated, jumping back and forth between yes and no, will and won't, mulling over a word that starts with M, and I've been doing so with great malice. Murder is on my mind. It seems a bit too much now. Too much, I know. It's just a thought. But thoughts are dangerous things. Who cares what the buffoons think of me? They are beneath me. But Hannah, to think that she feels that way towards me. I can't stomach the thought that she thinks so lowly of me. She may have always believed me to be less than her. It was the way she looked at me, with eyes so full of anger and hatred, that burns me most of all.
There is no prince that loves another better. She is not deserving.
Darling, love, Buttercup, why aren't you answering?
Upstairs, Luke.
Your princely dignity must not suffer that wrench.
No, I mustn't. I am beneath no one. My steps are slow and heavy as I climb the stairs. One of my knives rests neatly up my sleeve, and its cold blade will not let me forget its presence nor my intent. And when I enter our room and look upon her where she stays, I have a thought that nearly makes me laugh. I might not be a prince here to save the princess in the tower. I just might be the dragon that takes and kills. Yet she does not know that. Not yet. Even I'm unsure which way I'll go right now.
This lewd woman is not worthy. She should not escape without punishment.
Here I am expecting a warm welcome home, and here you are locked up in the room like a shut-in. Oh, Hannah, what am I to do with you? You're looking a little bit pale. Are you all right?
I must have had something funny, actually. Maybe from the party last night. Maybe breakfast or lunch.
Oh, if only that were the case. Perhaps you would have been too sick to do what you did to me last night.
You Hans had been acting really strangely while you were gone. Do you think?
Do I think what? That he poisoned you? Don't be silly. He wouldn't do such a thing unless I tell him to.
That bastard was told to look after her, make sure she doesn't leave. A guard for the princess. I did not tell him the extent of my plans, only that I hoped to talk to her, to see how this has come to be. But I can't even find a reason to try and forgive her for what she's done. If I'm to do anything, it would be best to control the situation so I can steer the story. One cannot get away with crimes as much as I have without being a director of a nature. I can be the loving husband, distraught over his wife's death if needed. Or if she were to, say, disappear. That can be arranged as well, whichever I see fit. A great hesitance comes over me, though, as I hold her in my arms. One that I haven't felt before. Even things such as killing come easy with the idea that it is for my well-being. But then again, this is Hannah. Sweet Hannah. Am I really to do this? Perhaps we can fix things.
She will bring you nothing but troubles and vexations.
Don't you worry. If you are sick, I'll take care of you myself. I did tell you that you'll have my afternoon and every moment after for as long as you live, didn't I? I'm just so worried about my poor wifey. That Rochelle woman had some nerve. and I've insulted your honor so. My poor wifey has been through so much.
Silently, I procure the knife and press it against the small of her back. This close, I can feel the hitch of her breath, and it is all too easy to imagine the quickening of her heart. To know I hold another human's life in my hands can be rather breathtaking at times. It is power, after all. Enticing and intoxicating.
My poor, spoiled wifey, Hannah fucking Evans. Silver spoon in her mouth, never had to lift a finger in her goddamn life. Poor wifey trying to ruin everything for me. All that I've worked so hard for. She'll just take it all away. Just like that. We've got to fix that. You know, you and I, we have to make sure you don't pull a dodgy stunt like the one you did last night. Even if we have to take you out of the picture permanently.
It makes one feel like a god and a monster in equal measure. But one cannot be both. Which one am I? I'm...
Kill her. Kill her now.
Why are you doing this?
It is for the best.
Because, Hannah, darling, it's never enough. I want it all.
She is only getting in our way.
You don't have to do this. You can still have it all, Luke. Just please. Don't you love me?
I do love you so very much.
Oh, I still do, Hannah. I do love you.
I love you. I love you. But truth be told, you would have been hurt sooner or later. One way or another. The least I can do is make it quick and painless, and have you in my arms as you go. Others go out screaming, suffering, because there's so much pain in this world. This is a gift, right?
But you're outliving your usefulness. In fact, you're becoming a pain in the arse, just like your dear old dad. Now I'm doing you a favor, and you'll be with him again. Real soon.
There's no prince more caring and loving. Now be rid of her.
Which is why I must do this, even though it pains me to.
What's so funny?
There's nothing funny, so why am I laughing as well?
We would have been so beautiful.
How does one get away with murder? By being clean and efficient. By being methodical. By being ready to do anything and everything to make sure you aren't caught or implicated of a crime. A knife in the back. They never quite see it coming, do they? And the knife stays in there until the blood stops flowing as freely as it does. A cork stopper for something a lot more gory than wine. It means a lot less blood on my person as well. There's no time to delay. No time to think twice while I start to drag the body face down so the blood doesn't spill on the floor. I can't take her out into the hallway just yet, in case an errant servant strays past, but the room next to ours is remote and inaccessible to the rest of the house. Hannah has forbidden anyone to go in there. What would be the children's room, as she had wished it to be, is a pet project of hers. Only she and McCullough have been allowed. Nobody would ever even dare set a foot in there. Even I have not, though it was mostly out of indifference. It'll have to do for now. A thorough cleaning will also have to be scheduled. Some lye will need to be purchased, or, actually, daffodils. Cover it up with fertilizer and we can plant daffodils on it. Alibis will have to be planned. The possibilities for that are endless and will have to be thought through later. In the meantime, my body moves on autopilot. How many times have I done this? I don't really know. Although it has been a while, I act with a familiarity I should be disturbed by. My mind screams, "It's Hannah!" But a part of me snuffs it out. It tells me to be quiet and be a good little boy. I've done this before, and being sentimental is not done me any favors. What I do now has gotten me far in life. So why should this be any different? It was Hannah. Now it's simply a cooling body. That's all it is. A body. And a crime scene I need to be rid of. Right? In my hurry to hide the body, what I see next blindsides me.
What? What is all this?
Walls in off-white. A simple base to be painted on with another color makes the room stand in contrast to the other plastered with wallpaper. The area is sparsely furnished with little more than a little toy chest tucked in the corner of the room, along with a shelf, barren except a few books and trinkets. 2 teddy bears stare down at me from their shelves, but it is what stands by the window that catches me off guard. There's a moment of confusion, as if my brain has shut down and it has yet to catch what I am seeing. I imagine I must be a ghastly sight when the blood has left my cheeks already. I have to clutch my chest, fearing that my beating heart would just burst. I have to take a step back before I can stumble forward. I feel faint, like I'm floating, and any step I take will stand me falling. Though it doesn't need much to take me off my feet. Not when my knees shake, and not when the body becomes too much of a burden to carry. A crib. A crib of all things stands in the corner, innocent and unassuming. I can almost hear their laughter, mocking me without pity. But none are as condemning as the sound of my own thoughts ringing in my head. Look at what you've done. Look at what you've destroyed. That's all you do, isn't it? Make a mess of and kill everything you touch. It's nothing precious. It's nothing sacred. It's nothing safe. You are your father's son. The possible implications of what I've done weighs heavily, looming over my head as she lays still in my arms. Any will I had, any strength I had to muster in order to hide what I've done seeps away. I can't hold on to her anymore. I have no right to. My very touch corrupts and stains everything with blood. And Hannah, she was just too pure, too good. I wasn't worthy. But I was too greedy, and I had to ruin her too. With reverence, an odd thing to feel for someone I just murdered, I carefully put her down on the ground. With all I can manage, I can't even pick myself up. Fatigue takes over me, and I resign myself to sit with my back against the wall. I killed her. I never thought I would actually go through with it. I have told myself many times in the past that I would kill her one day. After a fight, I would grit my teeth and tell myself that I could get rid of her. But when the anger has faded away, I've always changed my mind. I needed her, wanted her alive. I've always managed to stay my hand, never to harm her, never with a fist nor an open palm. Now she's dead because of me. I know what I'm capable of. I've done so many selfish, heinous things in the pursuit of happiness, but to kill someone I actually loved...
Wake up, Buttercup. This isn't real. This can't be happening. This is a nightmare. That's all it is.
There's no denying it. Not with the smell of blood, her blood, musty and nauseating, filling the air like a sickly sweet perfume. It's a bit troubling how I'm used to it. Death is something that I'm far too familiar with. Death shaped me. It has given, and it has taken. Oh, how it has taken. I never liked it when it takes from me. And all of this room, if it meant what I think it does, I
killed them.
Them.
I killed them.
Their blood is not the first to taint my hands. I've killed men and women, whether it be by my own hands or by my own orders. But never children. After all, why would I condone the killing of someone who hasn't done me wrong? Helpless and innocent little things. Their deaths do not serve me in any way. I don't want to believe it.
No. Wake up! Open your eyes! Raise your sleepy head!
This is not real.
Wake up, little Lucille!
What have I done? Wow. Remorse. Given the way that he went into that, I'm pleasantly surprised. I don't know how long I sat there faced with Hannah's corpse in that horrid room. For a brief moment I had thought it's a good idea to sit her up, as if it would change anything. But the notion alone is stupid. One among the many, and it leaves me with little energy. At the very least, I managed to heave myself out at one point, only able to drag myself to the foot of our bed. Looking out the window shows the light has given way to darkness, enveloping everything with the night sky. On any other night, it might have given me comfort. But now, I want to rewind time and have my sun shine once more. I loved her.
And that's why she had to go.
To be honest, I really don't know how to feel.
Face it, Lucille Mitchell-Wright. You owe me everything.
I was just blinded with rage with how she humiliated me at the party. I've worked so hard to be where I am. But in the fickle society of the rich and famous, my own wife turning on me like that is basically social suicide. I was so angry, ready to protect what I built for myself at all costs. I still feel the anger burning low, but for some reason it is directed at myself. With it, confusion rears. Questions come and go as I second-guess myself and my actions.
It had to be done. She was getting in our way.
Yes. It had to be done. Was she getting in my way? No. That's not it. I did it. Because... I don't know. A rawness scrapes at me until I'm left feeling cold and hollow. It carves out my insides as me wanting to scratch at my skin. It's crushing, suffocating, and it makes me want to claw at my own throat. I've only felt this way once before, when she died. One can only call it grief. Perhaps this is the worst feeling of all.
She deserved it. It's all her fault. With her out of the picture, I can focus on me. I can do what I want without compromising. And besides, I never wanted to be a father anyway.
You need neither that whore of a woman nor her children.
I would never want to be a father. I can't imagine what kind of father I would be, and wish myself on any child. Not with who I had as an example. Damien Wright was not a very good father, and in the short time I had him as one. In fact, he hadn't been a father at all. He cared little for me, didn't even know of my existence until he needed an heir. There are others out there, other children that I could call my brothers and sisters. I know of one brother from Brighton, older than I by many years, who was cast aside because he was ill. Another born within the same week as I was ignored because he had a preference for men. He chose me not because he loved me, but because I was the only son of acceptable standards among the many illegitimate children he conceived. I wasn't a son to take care of, but a successor to groom in order to keep the right name alive. I was a tool, an investment, not family, not even a person. Not that I hardly knew my father as one either. But even without that, I wouldn't want to bring a child onto this earth. I know the world with all it has to offer, cold, cruel, and harsh, in which no true kindness can survive in one piece. Humanity is more beastly than any animal that roamed the land. Humans can be the most horrible of monsters. I am one of them. So if I'm a monster, then why does this hurt me so much? 'Cause you're not as big a monster as you want to believe you are.
This is fine. I'm fine.
And they throw in the meme, really? That has to be the biggest lie I've ever said. And I've lied a lot.
You feel pain now, my prince, because of your kind and caring heart. But that shall pass.
It's a laughable enough notion on its own. Of course, humor is subjective. Shrokin comes in with a grim look on his face. I would assume that he was expecting a bloodbath in here, judging by the slowness of his steps. There is a mess in here. Just not that kind. I don't think he was expecting me to be in the state that I'm in. Sitting on the ground, haggard looking with blood drying on the sleeves of my suit, all while I giggle like I've just heard the funniest joke in the world.
What is so funny? We would have been so beautiful together.
Hannah's last words sounded like a terribly bad joke, coming from me.
There were toys in there, you know. And this bloody book of names. Do you know what this means? Did you? Did you know about this? And don't you dare lie to me. If you knew about this and you let me kill my own child, I'll fucking murder yours.
I stare at him straight in the eye, just daring him to lie about this. If he knew, he should have stopped me. If he knew that Hannah was pregnant and did not tell me, he does not show it. The silence is not telling, but my blood boils as I feel how he judges me. You're a monster, Luke Wright, he says without speaking.
Don't look at me like that!
I bet he knew, and he still kept quiet about it. This is why I mustn't trust anyone. Liars and thieves, the lot of them. Of course that makes me quite the hypocrite, now doesn't it? But it's a dog-eat-dog world. Becoming one of them is going to be inevitable, sooner or later, had I been innocent of these sins in the first place. I want to lash out, to scratch and bite and tear, become the monster I really am. I am the dragon that craves treasure and sets fire to the world. I'll kill him. I'll kill them all. I already killed Hannah, after all. Why should anyone else be safe?
She asked me to keep it secret. Unsure if you would be happy to be a father. I did not think you would do such a thing. I let myself hope for the best, for once. You loved her so.
Wow, he did know. And that's why he kept telling her to leave.
The question is, would you have done things differently because of this knowledge? Would you listen to me? To anyone other than her, for that matter? If they forbade you from doing as you please?
And that's the kicker, isn't it? Because I don't know the answer to that myself. I want to scream. But I just feel so tired that I can no longer protest when I'm picked off the floor by the arm like some reprehensible waif. I say nothing as I'm ushered into bed and told to sleep. And as the lights are turned off, the terrace doors are closed and the curtains shut. Only then do I manage to speak.
What? Not going to tuck me in and tell me to have sweet dreams?
Nothing. He doesn't speak or even acknowledge that he heard me. The man merely collects the dirty laundry and leaves without a second glance. There is nothing but silence, cold and lonely and oppressing. How long has it been since I've slept alone? Even in a stranger's bed, I've always had someone to warm me up. Mint, or Rochelle, or any other woman I ended up in the sheets with. And I make sure I always leave first, never wanting to wake up and find myself alone again. Far too long. I can't even imagine how I've managed to sleep without a warm body beside me before I had Hannah. Still, the fatigue soon catches up and pulls me into sleep's embrace. It's not her sobs that I hear, but his, hers, theirs. I'll never know now, will I? I've killed them. By my own doing, I've ended all of it, even before anything has begun. Their blood drips from my hands, pooling at my feet, lapping at my ankles, like the cold, suffocating embrace of my sins. They creep up my limbs, slow and unhurried, twisting and turning. Up and up it goes until nothing but a sharp, guttural cry escapes from my mouth. And then all at once,
We would have been so beautiful.
I choke back a scream and wake up in a cold sweat. With my heart beating in my ears, it takes a while to remember where I am. In the dark and cold of the room, one can't fault me for feeling ill at ease. It isn't as bright as the penthouse, and the renovations did little to change how old it feels. We've been here for less than a week. It'll take a bit more time to adjust. It's hard to feel cozy, though, when I'm bloody freezing. Nudging the lump of fabric next to me, I sigh.
It's cold. Don't hug the sheets, Hannah.
She always did this, though. It hardly bothers me. Growing up, I was lucky to have something to use as a mattress. I'm not the one who grew up accustomed to Egyptian cotton with a thread count of 800. Besides, the warmth that Hannah exuded on her own is usually enough to keep me sleeping through the night. The temperature tonight must be something else with how chilly it is right now. It takes a while. Then I remember, it can't be Hannah. So, who is it? The horrible image of Hannah's cold corpse lying underneath the sheet comes to mind. Let it be anything but that. An intruder seeking warmth of shelter from the cold, dreary night. A maid sneaking in with mischief in mind. A hired hitman that has it out for my head. Even the last would be better than finding her there. I can fight off a man with a gun. I can't say the same about the sight of her dead eyes reminding me of what I've done. The smart thing to do here is to get out, really. But a nagging curiosity aside, I have to know what they're here for, and more importantly, what they've seen. What if they've seen what's in the other room? Why linger? Do they hope to blackmail me, and this is a sick way of sticking around until they can talk to me? If I leave now, they might as well. Just the act of trespassing alone should be cause enough for punishment. Whether that punishment leads to a swift execution remains to be seen. There's no sign that they've heard me, nor have they shown any sign of moving where they lie. With care, I go for the knife hidden underneath the side of my bed. It would be foolish of me to instigate anything while I'm unarmed, after all. To pull back the covers would be a more difficult affair. Because reaching out to uncover who was underneath, I have to prepare for anything and assume the worst. If I so much as see the nozzle of a gun, there's going to be another murder tonight. I see the rise and fall of the sheets, though. It could easily be mistaken as the fault of the breeze. I'd like to believe that it is breathing I'm hearing. Having an intruder in my bed, no matter how absurd, would be preferable to insanity. To know that my mind is rebelling against me, making me believe Hannah still lives, and that she would even go anywhere near the monster that I've become. A great sense of foreboding comes over me, making me hesitate with my plan. I should just get out of here, not look back, and let security handle it. That's what they're there for. But I don't much like the idea of people swarming in here, especially not with a dead body in the other room. The fewer people that know about it, the better. That's always a good rule to follow with this sort of thing. I'm on my own then. But what's the worst that could happen, right? I've no reason to be afraid. There's no boogeyman under the bed, no monster in my closet. If anything, these things should be afraid of me. Right? I grab a fistful of sheets and throw them aside. Nothing. Nothing but a bunch of pillows stare back at me. Of course, there's nothing under the sheets. Hannah is dead, and no other body has or will ever grace my own bedside. But what I felt, the breathing I had heard, it wasn't mine. Most likely the imaginary construct of the guilty mind, of course. What else could it have been? Must be my imagination. I mean, look at me. I'm running on fumes and it's got me bloody paranoid. I need more sleep. And maybe I'll take the day off as well. That sounds delightful. Yes. Quiet and rest should do my head wonders. I'll have some much-needed winks and can figure out what I'm going to do with it. But now, hush, and off to the realm of sleep. Hush, and think of nothing but fields of daffodils. The pleasant dreams refuse to linger, however. With the morning comes another disturbance, both too loud and too sharp for my tastes. And I have very fine tastes. When the piercing rings of the doorbell reach even the bedroom, I'm very much inclined to think the person who built this place lacks any sense of it. Perhaps the only thing good in this is that the ruckus has effectively chased away all the whispers and the needling guilt, if only temporarily. Still, it's a bloody annoying distraction. I can tell already that it's going to be a long day. It hasn't even started. Before the racket even lasts another minute, I'm peeling myself off the bed and heading straight for the main door. There will be another murder today if this doesn't let up. How quaint. Seems everything in this blasted universe is intent on getting on my nerves as of late.
They are unworthy of your attention, my prince.
Gordon Bennett! Only a Nancy would knock at such an ungodly hour!
In the first place, I shouldn't be the one doing this. This is why I hired a valet, for fuck's sake.
Where's that damn butler when I need him?
Cast them away. Drive them away.
I'll be honest, if only for today. With the mansion this quiet at this hour in the morning, it's easy to believe those little ghost stories might be real. But the only horror here is what I've seen last night. The blood still on my hands, regardless of how many times I've washed it off. Neither the deafening silence nor the biting chill spreads across every room in the place. There's no place for fear when guilt already burns that fuel. So I wait another second. When no butler still answers my call, I simply yank the doors open myself. Perhaps with more force than needed. And maybe it should be appropriately there, considering the person on the other side and the hour he dared appear on my doorstep. Even with a half a brain, knows nobody not to disturb anybody this early. Brief confusion quickly gives way to anger, and before the bloody photographer can get it in a word, I'm hurling venom at him. It's less than he deserves, really. Hannah would disapprove, scold me for treating the man with such disrespect. She seemed fond of him, after all. Treated him like a friend she had known for years. But she's no longer here, isn't she?
You! Again! It's bloody 6 in the morning! What the hell is it now?
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time! Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't!
My home, my rules. Now. As simple as that.
Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep.
Oddly, the word tastes foreign and bitter on my tongue. A remorse slowly taking home, creeping up and twining inside, reminding me of my transgressions when it hasn't done so before. Funny how the years have changed me. So I let anger guide them instead, if only because it's easier to cast it away when you have something else to project it onto. It just so happens it's a person I will never take a liking to, no matter what the memory of her says in my mind. A plus, I suppose? A blessing. At least I won't feel any remorse if my ire does pierce.
Only you matters. No one else.
Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you.
He continued shouting even as I slammed the door in his face. Some nonsense about the news lately, though I don't understand most of it. However, with the closed door muffling the better part of it and with no ears to listen, his tirade doesn't last too long. Eventually he leaves and silence once again fills the room as it should. In hindsight, maybe I should also call this for psychiatric services. He certainly sounds mental just screaming like that. A suspicious man like him left roaming the immediate grounds, nothing good can come of it. But if his presence will indeed bring a problem, a sign of bad things to come, I'll probably know soon enough. Worst comes to worst, Shrokin will take care of it if need be. It's what I'm paying him for. In the meantime, the bigger problem at hand. The hush is quietly replaced by the nightmarish reality of what I had done and what I must do. Though the guilt weighs heavily upon me, I need to push it aside and proceed as necessary. Emotions play no part in this. Regret will not keep me out of jail if I don't hide my crime, one way or another. Oh, it should be easy. Just hide the body, no? Drain the body, crush the teeth, burn off her fingerprints, and mar her face past the point of recognition before chopping the body up. There'll be plenty of options after that. Incineration, feeding it to the animals, dumping it into the ocean. Oh, she would like that last one, wouldn't she? Of course, there's always the option of letting her decompose and become fertilizer for my daffodils. That really isn't the big issue, though.
This whole murder business just ruins a good Sunday morning, does it not?
Hannah, my dear Hannah. Till death do us part.
And you must part. Forget about her.
Yet even in death I cannot let you go. My hands still shake at the very idea that I have your blood on them. My insides feel both numb and afire because of the sin I have committed. My lips quiver as I fight off the urge to cry prayers and apologize, in the hopes that they will be enough to bring you back. But I know that this is no fairy tale. But I'm not going to wake up the slumbering princess with a kiss. True love or otherwise, no sentiment or good intention will change the cruel reality of life. Even if miracles do exist, I do not think they would happen for a man such as myself. The past cannot be changed. I must deal with the consequences to come, regardless of what the other person who has just walked in says. And he always has to have an opinion.
I think murder would ruin a sane person's mood no matter the day or time.
Yup.
Continue mouthing off and there'll be a second one, Shraken. I've killed for less in the past. I've been soft, complacent. Those things need to change.
She made me soft. Over the years, I've been told marriage has made me a kept man. Of course, people stopped saying that after I shot a fool who thought disrespecting my wife would get him anywhere. Now that she's gone, though, well, who knows?
I mean no disrespect. Excuse the murmurings of the insane, yes? But I have every confidence and every dread that you will go through with it. However, about the madame, how shall we proceed? I'm sure it has come to you that this will need more attention than the others who have gone under our care.
The chances of her remains being found is slim if we do things properly, as we have done in the past. The chances of her disappearance going unnoticed? Not bloody likely. She was Hannah. Whether she was Hannah Evans or Hannah Wright, she is practically Lux-born royalty. Her disappearance will cause quite the stir. And who will be suspect number one? Me, of course. After that public blow-up she had at the party. This won't be as easy as, say, killing an ordinary accountant who's looking into the numbers a bit too thoroughly, or an attorney who hopes to get in my way. For now, I need time to plan. At the very least, hide the body and cover up her disappearance. That's why I had the rest of the staff sent away except for Shroken.
I suppose we can't just sweep this under the rug, can we? What about a magic trick, then? Can we pull off a sleight of hand? Now you see her, now you don't?
Misdirection. Clever. You could blame the butler. I would not mind retirement.
Nice try, but I'm not letting you go. I still own you until I see fit. There's no need for you to take the fall. Not when there are plenty of others I can pinpoint as the culprit. Why even make it murder?
I don't think turning it into a kidnapping story will work. But Hannah was sociable enough and had plenty of suitors. She would have been a bit too friendly with one of them. That would be the pot calling the kettle black. But she might have, if she was falling out of love with me. She might have wanted to leave me for another. Someone else who caught her eye, her interest. Just our very visitor this morning, in fact.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Bibby a lot more.
Very funny.
So, Grand Director, do you want to tell me what Blue Foncé is all about? I was talking with Zachary, the photographer for Luxury Living. He was a perfect gentleman, Luke. I can't say the same for you as of recent. Look, Luke, nothing will happen. You have to relax. It was just a friendly chat.
Is that why he's here? Unlikely. But her? Is that why she pulled that fucking stunt in public? Did she really not love me anymore? Is it because of the photographer? Or is it someone else? How many others could be at fault for her heart changing?
This is all her fault. She already had you and she let herself stray.
Wow. Way to stab and twist there, Ghost. Hannah was actually rather faithful to him.
What if we said that she eloped, ran away with another man?
I'd sooner believe she was killed by the Anselm butcher than think she fled with another man. But it could work. The masses will eat up such gossip. We can fake evidence, signs that will point to her traveling with a companion. Though, if I may be a bit honest, I loathe to speak ill of her or create rumor.
What if it isn't a rumor? What if there was someone? Why else would she act out like that? The falling out would be the best excuse to leave me. Or coming out as the victim. Whatever the case, it'll put me under less scrutiny. The police will investigate if it's a murder or a kidnapping or a sudden disappearance. But they won't really bother with marital and relationship issues, will they?
They are not minors, and I suppose the police will not bother unless you file a case. They have more problems than a love affair. It would be best to consult someone who knows the law a bit more intimately. Your lawyer, yes?
Yes, but he's away on a holiday, enjoying the beaches on some back-end country or some such. Somewhat called Philippians or something?
He's in the Philippines. Okay, that's interesting.
He told me he'll be back on the 2nd of November.
Wouldn't that be a bit too late? If we have to wait that long, we can consult someone else. The chief inspector might be willing.
Yes, I suppose I can ask Lee. He's an idiot, but he's an idiot who studied law. But if I ask questions, he'll pry, and I'd like to not give away too much. The trick is keeping a secret is to have as few people as possible know about it. Take a few people down and put them in their graves if I have to. At least the lawyer's paid to believe I'm innocent and won't be nosy about the whole thing. And really, it's just because...
I don't trust him with this. He's probably busy with that wife of his, if she's still even in the city.
Who can I even trust, really?
You can trust your most faithful servant, for I am the only one who truly loves you, my prince.
A person's loyalty stops where greed starts. They all bow to curry favor, faking smiles and attending to my every whim, expecting approval and gifts in exchange. That is all well and good for me. Let it not be said that I am not a generous prince. But it is those who I reign over through fear that I must watch out for. People like Harvey Lee fell under both of those. He catered to me shamelessly so that I can aid him with his wishes in turn. And when he found that he was in too deep, I had to leash him lest he get in my way. Sure, I say jump and he'll ask how high, but he's a spineless little shit. The moment he thinks he sees the opportunity to turn the tables on me, he'll take it. Bribery and blackmail can only go so far. One needs to make the other person bend, but take care not to have them broken. If they believe they have nothing to lose, that's when they retaliate. At the very least, he'll try to use the knowledge to try and gain a leverage to be on equal grounds with me. And if he does that, I'll be forced to kill him. I don't like letting go of my toys because they decide to be stupid. Handling idiots can be so tiring. No matter how many of them die off, another 3 could be found within a stone's toss. It's best to make use of them one way or another, until it's decided that they need to be deleted from the gene pool.
It won't do to use a story until we're certain it's believable. After all, it's the first time I've become a widower. Until then, keep the others away from her body.
Standing up to leave, I grow still at the sound of shattered glass. The dampness leaks into my shoes as red stains the hem of my pants and my socks. I forgot I was having wine. Huh.
Go clean that up and leave me be. I've already had the other staff take the day off. I don't want to see hide or hair of you unless I call.
There's no peace to be had just yet, apparently. The other man is quick to follow and quick to speak up as there aren't any witnesses to... There aren't any to witness such disrespect or to hear what he had to be said.
You do realize it has been 12 hours. Rigor mortis is already set in. Any longer and then it will start smelling like a sewer. I will not be able to do anything about that without removing the corpse itself. In 3 days' time, the smell will have seeped into the walls, and you will have to replace those to even get rid of it. If you're not keen about disposing the body just yet, at the very least we can put it in a freezer.
I suppose a chest freezer for the wine cellar wouldn't raise too many questions. And, look, I don't want to think about this right now. I don't care if you have to fill the room with potpourri or douse all the walls with perfume. Go order a freezer and have it delivered today even. Just make sure it doesn't stink up the place until we get rid of the body. Make it happen. This is your problem now.
If you are not to attend to it, will you be reporting to work then? You've already cancelled your appointments for the day, but some are still insistent that you keep to your original meetings. The board of directors are especially adamant about talking about the hotel and...
I put up a hand to stop the man from talking before he goes any further. Why, I can already feel the migraine building up from all his worrying. It's a part of his job, I understand. But I said I was going to have the day off. So be assured I am going to have the bloody day off.
Goodness, no. I think I deserve a break. A day or 2, or 3 without being surrounded by complete dunderheads. Director Hahn can handle those busybodies for a while, can't he?
For fuck's sakes. I can have the week off if I want, and my finances will not be the worst for wear. My company and the businesses aren't going to keel over and die just because I decided to take a leave for a bit, right? It's not like I'm the only competent businessman here. I mean, at least I hope not.
It's too early for this. I'm going to try and get some proper sleep. If anybody calls, tell them they can sod off and bother me another day.
Before there are any more protests, I pull my mobile out of my pocket and toss it his way. By the time he catches it, I'm already halfway up the stairs. But no sooner as I flop on the bed and try to close my eyes once more to get maybe an hour or two more rest, the violent sound of glass breaking comes from another room. I would think it was just one of the cleaners, probably dropping a plate or a vase, and I would have left Schroken to sort it out. But the crash sounded too close to come from anywhere else but the room where Hannah. My breath catches in my throat, and at the pace it goes, my heart is near threatening to escape from my ribcage. Without even realizing I'm already on my feet. Any attempt to sleep has been forgotten, in favor of rushing to the door while dread fills my stomach. Could it be a burglar? My fear turns into a seething fury at the thought. If it is, they'll regret their trespass.
There should be a law against noise this early in the morning.
Wrenching the door open, I can't quite believe my eyes as I see who stands before me. It's him. A photographer from Luxury Living. He is a shifty character, isn't he? I knew right from the start of how much of an annoyance he'd be, should he choose to step into my life once more. First, with that pitiful little photo shoot he did, and then with him showing up and ruining such a fine morning because he forgot something. Perhaps he had forgotten to put silverware in his pocket drawers that time. And here he is again to take more from me. I was wrong not to have security drag him off my property when I had the chance earlier. His ilk are trouble. Always have been. I've no doubt that their true intentions are as dark as their skin. For a long time, people like him have given me trouble in my youth. And some of their men would even dare lay a hand upon my mother, as if their presence was welcome and their stolen money meant anything. They who lived on our lands and off our wealth, taking from our people's goodwill. Mother had told me to be kind to them, that they were as human as any of us were. I tried to listen to her, but couldn't find it in me to do so. Not when too many of them would show up as clients, taking my mother as if she were their property. Not when I can still remember dark hands bringing pain, both upon me and my mother. Oh sure, white men also did the same, but none were as strong or as rough as these wogs. Wow. These black-skinned louts made for better nightmare material, frequenting my sleep often enough. I was always so afraid that they would come out of the shadows to hurt me, naive child that I was. Father, well, for once that was something we had agreed on. They were good for nothing but cheap labor. And violence, of course. The presence among my men made for an intimidating sight. Oh, but there is something else they're good for, too.
Hannah? Hannah, darling? Buttercup? Love? Speak to me.
I know this looks bad.
It's so easy to slip into the role of a victim, to pretend that I'm in shock at the sight.
You! What did you do? I know this looks really bad, standing here in your house with a dead body, but I can explain.
You killed her! You ones! Get in here!
And who else can I blame? Who else can be the culprit but this trespasser in my house? As he makes more excuses, near desperation, I have to take care not to show the glee as I lay all accusation on him. And when he swears to whatever god he believes in, my man is quick to arrive and pull me back out of the bedroom to safety while he deals with this interloper. When all is said and done, incapacitating him is a quick affair. For all of the Negro's great bulk, he's weak, and it didn't take long to bring him down and to make sure he stayed down. By then, the sun is already rising off in the distance. Schroken steps out of the nursery with a questioning look on his face.
Call the police! Get rid of this rubbish!
Certainly. Will you be having teas this morning?
Bring it to my study! And,
clean out that awful stench.
I don't bother to linger longer than necessary after that. I have to think about what comes next. What now? That's the proper question to ask after all that's happened. To think I would have been so stressed out trying to find a way to cover her death up. Then this golden opportunity just drops onto my lap. Or rather, breaks into my home. I can't quite believe my luck. This is far too perfect and makes it all too easy. I can see the headlines now. Black man murders Hannah Wright. They won't even suspect I've had any hand in her death. Who would accuse the poor widower, Luke Wright? And I'll make sure the police confirm that as fact. If there is there ever any time to visit Officer Harvey Lee and have him cooperate, it would be now. If I play it right, even the public will be crying out to have his head, and I'll never have to worry about this ever again. After a spot of tea and breakfast, of course. I need time to compose myself, to calm down, and to come up with my story. Because I'm practically giddy, my body near vibrating at the thought that I'd get away scot-free from this, all due to that man's sheer bad luck. I have to hold back laughter as I go through my breakfast, dismissing the policemen that come to survey the crime scene and collect the man. Once I'm done breaking my fast and having a cool shower, I call for Schroken and arrive and to drive me to the police station so that I can give my statement. I would be much happier if nosy detective stopped being, well, nosy. That boy, Feathers, just riles me right up, with the way he looks at me as if he's better than me. I saw it in his eyes, that righteous fury, and the belief that he's some saintly good guy, and I'm the villain that he needs to take down. I've no doubt that he was a word away from trying to assault my person. And I wish he had, if only so that I would have proper legal grounds to get him in a whole lot of trouble. I so hate men like him. I came out looking the civil gentleman between the two of us at the very least. But it does no wonders for my mood, and I have to retreat to Harvey's office to cool myself down. Just needing to do legwork to bring myself to this precinct always does sour the day for me. It always means I have to pick something. Always annoying. So here I am with a bored glance at the view of the place. Johann standing outside like a good guard dog and making sure no one enters unannounced.
I am so sorry about what happened out there, mate. But you know how it is with these officers. All testosterone and ranking.
Well, you need to learn how to keep your men in line better, mate.
There's been a string of unfortunate incidents as of late. Just recently, some bloke named Christian C was acting all nuts. Off his rocker, that man. And we had to hold him, thought he was drunk. Up until he started bashing his brains in. Now he's a vegetable in a hospital bed. Another time, some Mark Julius was reported missing. Some are thinking we've got a serial killer on our hands as of late. That Cooper lady from BRC got done in, and a Father Norman, too. Bloody hell. Even that Santos girl. She was our detective's friend, you know? Though I keep telling him not to let his emotions get in the way of the job. You have to understand, mate, in a place as peaceful as Luxburn, this makes people wary. Reported crime rates go a bit higher than usual, and it makes them antsy and temperamental. And now Hannah. The Hannah Wright. The press are going to go nuts about this, mark my words.
Are you implying that I have anything to do with them? Because as much as I hate to say it and admit, I am out of the loop. This is the first I've heard of these incidents.
Really, I'd say I'm insulted. But this is par for the course.
Honestly, yeah. But when they said what happened to Hannah, well, it can't be you.
The older man looks at me with scrutiny. I'm under no delusions. It's obvious he's trying to find a trace of a lie, to find a way and pin a serious crime on me so that he can escape his slavery from me, so to speak. But I put on the perfect picture of a grieving husband. An easy feat. If he pushes this, I will not hesitate to be sharp and make my point across to remind him of his place. There seems to be a need for it, however. Whatever kindness he can muster from me just gives in. It's easy to believe that a husband would never go so low as to murder his own wife.
If anything, you might have just caught the perpetrator for us.
I beg your pardon? Are you saying that man who just broke into my home is a serial killer?
Who would have thought? But Carl over there told me what they saw when they went to tape off the crime scene. That room Anna's body was found in. You must have noticed it, no?
My confusion must be in plain sight, because I really am wondering. What could I have missed that would imply that a serial killer had occurred? The unhinged part of me wants to laugh just to let it out. This is ridiculous. Hilarious and preposterous at the same time. It's a near thing too, and my mouth twitches, threatening to put a grin on my face.
Or I guess not. I guess you were too shocked with what you saw and all. I don't blame you. It's nasty.
I can feel the blood leave my face, cheeks gone cold as I remember. Help me all over the nursery walls. And I certainly am not the one who put them up there. But so who? I'm snapped out of my musings when the old man starts to prattle on again.
It's those bloody letters all over the place, just like the others we've seen. It's crazy to think there's a serial killer in a place like this. You think you only see that sort of shite in the films, but no, we have one. And as it turns out, it could just very well be motherfucking Zachary Seal. I mean, I still can't quite believe it right now. That guy's a nice kid, but...
Harvey waves a hand lamely through the air, not quite sure how to continue his statement.
They say looks can be deceiving.
I finish for him. Because innocent or serial murder, this kid is my stay out of jail card. If he's the former, it doesn't matter. And if he's the latter, and he really did have the time to write all of that, I may very well have dodged a second bullet.
So what is our resident serial killer looking at?
Well, I doubt anyone would really try to defend the guy. Especially if you're pressing charges. Not unless D.A. Davis tries to stick her nose in it anyway. But, well, just the breaking and entering charges alone is going to get him half a year and a huge fine. If he can be placed in those other murders, the guy's never going to see the light of day. He's looking at 30 to life.
Listen well, Lee. If he gets any less than what he deserves, I will be very unhappy. There will be consequences if you prove your incompetence in this matter. I want him rotting in a cell until the end of his days for what he did to Hannah.
For what people will think he did to Hannah. The look on the older man brings some level of satisfaction. How his eyes widen and his pupils dilate. He's good at hiding his fear. I'll keep my promise if this isn't done and he knows it.
Now, is that all you're here for?
Well, there is another thing I want to ask.
What? Can't I visit a friend? That detective. Feathers. Should I be concerned about him? He seemed keen.
Feathers? Oh, you mean Frey? Nah, he's not really anything to worry about. I got him assigned to your case to make the whole thing believable. The boy's a good detective, one of the best I have on the force, but he won't be able to do shit with all the red tape tying him up. In fact, the higher-ups just took him off your tail.
The case against me? I still have one?
I could have some tea, maybe some whiskey and a nap, and I'll be as right as rain. At least one of us should get some good R&R, because it looks like Harvey isn't going to get any. Not with the commotion that started up outside the room. From outside the office, we can both clearly see something's come up. And opening the door lets the din of the place flood in with officers going about and phones ringing up the storm.
Looks like your children are in need of their minder, Harvey. Whatever could this be?
What in blazes is going on here? What's that fucking fire?
There's been a jumper, Chief.
It is utter madness as callers ring in all about it. A jumper? The next born? If I weren't so tired, I'd give it more interest. Besides, going by what the officers on the phones are saying, it's probably far too late for the poor soul. They've already gone splat, and all lines are clogged with the distressed and the busybodies. It's not every day you hear about such things in this city. Or at least it's not every day I hear about a jumper that I haven't caused. As if on cue, Harvey glances my way with a tight expression on his face. And I have to shake my head to him to say, no, this one isn't mine, before I leave him to his pets. Stepping out from the chaos, I let out a breath of fresh air. Or as fresh as it's going to get in the city. I do hate going to the precinct. It's a fucking zoo filled with animals, people who step in included. But it's not like the city's any better. Humans are just a higher form of animals after all. We all delude ourselves into thinking otherwise. and I call up the car to take me away from it all. Though I can't bring myself to step inside the house when I do get home. Johannes has already gone in to berate and guide whatever men Harvey has sent from the force to investigate. They'll be one of ours, of course. The men and women who could be coerced into doing what is asked of them with a bit of bribery and a bit of blackmail. These are men who have long been jaded by their time in the force and knows how unfair the world can be. Why not profit off it too? They'll have to make sure any evidence implicating me of a crime doesn't make it to official hands. Put Steele's prints on a knife if they need to procure the murder weapon. And do whatever else is necessary so all of it leads away from Luke Wright. Really, I'm in no mood to deal with them. I may just end up shooting one or the other. They're far too informal, far too yappy. Dogs that don't know their manners. And I'd hate to send them to the pound and let them be put down when they can still be of use. And I'd get no rest from them lurking around my bedroom if they aren't trying to pillage the fridge for free food. Might as well stay put out here for the time being. Gray skies loom over the horizon though the sun fights for every precious minute of it gets to stay. It'll rain again soon, with the wind bringing along the gloomy clouds normal to Luxbourne. Until then, it doesn't hurt to be out here for fresh air and sunshine. I walk to the gardens, what little of it there is at the moment anyway, and kneel by the daffodils. These were the first to be brought here and planted in my request, and if nothing else, they brought in a sense of peace. They were Mother's favorite. It's been a while since I've talked to my mother like this. Do I even deserve to talk to her now? It feels wrong to do so after what I've done. Not because I have blood on my hands, no. That's nothing new. But because it's her. When I've killed my lovely Hannah, I don't even need to worry about becoming my father anymore. Because I am certainly much, much worse. Damien never killed Eleanor. He never had her blood on his hands. Staring at the flowers offers me no safety from that reality. The peace I came out here for is short-lived when my own mind betrays my guilt. But I'm a stubborn fool who's set in his ways, and I refuse to get up and go back into the house just yet, even if there's no real point in staying in the dirt. And I'm made even more determined to stay when I sense a presence standing behind me. When I told Shrokin that I would tell anyone and everyone to sod off and bother me another day, I do mean that.
Leave me alone, Shrokin. Go make dinner if you want to be useful.
I think those flowers look beautiful, my lord. The parlor, the room where the lady stays for her tea. It could certainly use some.
Voice is not familiar, though I'm not really one to remember such things. A beautiful woman stands near me. A servant, if one were to assume from what she wears. And that should certainly concern me when the other household staff members had been sent away for the day. Not to mention, I'd like to think I'd remember a pretty face like hers if she was under my employ. If she's pretending to be one of the staff, she's out of luck. And if that is the case, she shouldn't push her luck lest I decide another murder will not ruin my day any further. But I can only feel, at the very least, indifferent about her presence and annoyance at most. Beautiful as she may be, that did not exempt her from my wish to be on my own. There's a part of me that feels like I'll snap at any moment for the smallest of reasons. And I'm just waiting for an excuse to let go again.
Didn't you get the memo? Are you new? Today is a day off. You aren't supposed to be here.
Am I not? I apologize, my lord. I wasn't aware that we are not expected at our stations this day. It's just that today is such a beautiful day. I saw you alone and simply thought you could use some company.
Point. The birds are singing and the flowers are blooming. It would be a shame to spend days like these on my own. But with these rare sunny days, I wish I could spend it with my sunshine. My Hannah. Something claws and lashes out inside of me at the reminder of what happened, of what I did to her. To know that she is not here with me, to enjoy these scarce times when dark clouds do not plague our skies. An ill feeling takes over me at the mere thought. I have to swallow down the bile that rises in my throat, force my expression not to betray anything. Any sign of weakness is not allowed. The slightest of slip-ups, and I'll be swarmed by sharks hungry for blood. Perhaps talking with another person, a human being that doesn't know of my sins, will do me some good. That, or there'll be another pretty corpse by the end of the day. Also, ghost girl. But she's not looking especially haunting right now.
All is forgiven. You must be really enthusiastic about your job if you didn't realize it's a day off.
I simply owe everything to the lady. Work is all I know. It's the only way I can repay her. But if my lord wishes to take it as enthusiasm, I won't hold it against you.
She smiles. She has that sort of smile that makes one's kindness shine through without words or action. She reaches her eyes, filling them with a strange sort of mirth, as if she's just thought of something very funny, and I'm hard-pressed to return the friendly gesture. I'll be civil. That doesn't mean I have to pretend that I enjoy it. Though I'm debating just dismissing her all the same.
The flowers in the countryside are rather beautiful, aren't they? Though I must admit, they do not appeal to me as much as the ones in my homeland do.
Not a native born, then. Probably a foreigner who thought looking for a job overseas would let her live the high life, only for stark reality to slap her right in the face. People like her are a dime a dozen, and she's probably one of those undocumented foreign workers, too. There's just a whole doozy of a debate about them nowadays. Though it's probably best not to pick up, if only for the sake of my temper. Still, I have to rise to her bait. Flowers sound like a safe topic to breach. And one I rather enjoy.
Oh, is that a challenge, I hear? You must not have seen a full British garden in bloom, then. The roses, daffodils, thistles, and bluebells make for a grand display under the right care.
I think they are much too bright.
Oh, do elaborate. I've never heard anyone call it that way.
Just the way you present your flowers, that is. They are beautiful still. But I think they lack the softness and elegance of the chrysanthemums and cherry blossoms that I have grown up seeing.
Do you work in the gardens, then?
Because that would explain why she's so unfamiliar to me. I don't meet much of the staff, if at all, preferring that they remain invisible until they are necessary. The gardeners especially, as I only recently really go out to take care of Mother's daffodils and ask that I be left alone under those circumstances.
Oh, not at all. Although I do wish I were. I do enjoy working with plants quite a lot. Not that I am unhappy to be at your service, my lord, but no. I work for the lady of the house and carry out what she requests of me.
Lady of the house? Is that what that old hag of a head housemaid telling the other staff to call her now? Not surprising, really. That woman has always been an upstart, self-important biddy who doesn't know her place. She should really just give up, retire, and enjoy whatever remains of her years. At her age, she wouldn't manage even a position in the Queen's staff. Not that I don't respect that woman, of course. She and I are much alike. Except I succeeded in rising up the ranks of society, whereas she failed, and how she despises me for that fact. Her pride probably refuses her a graceful exit, and I don't really care all that much about her employment until such time the government forces me to retire her. With how old she is, she's always complaining about pains and aches and about young people. She's a difficult character, and she only acts real tolerable around Hannah. Not that that'd be a thing anymore since, well, now I'm just in a terrible mood.
Errand girl for Her Majesty, then? That job must be a right pain in the arse. I heard she runs her assistants ragged, probably killing you real so she can absorb your life essence in the hopes that it'll make her youthful.
She has her undesirable moments, but I am grateful enough. I have a roof over my head and bread to eat, though certainly the compensation the household provides for us is not lacking. It is generous for me. Too much. Too much for someone as lowly as I did not mean to imply insult, my lord. I'm simply...
I wave it off. Accusations that I'm paying my employees less than proper are often unfounded. I'd like to think I'm fair with my wages. And it doesn't seem she meant any harm by it, but...
You do not look too happy. I really did not mean to upset you. The lady of the house will surely be furious if she hears of this.
Oh, relax. That old hag isn't going to know because I'm not a snitch. But to be frank, I'm just wondering what you're here for. It's a nice day. A lovely lady like you should be out on the city with some lucky bloke.
Apologies. I did not mean to bother you. I thought you would appreciate the company, what with the rains about to return.
And if I do not appreciate the company, if I wish to be alone, don't you think I came out here for a purpose?
I did nothing to mask my indignance now. If this were any other time, maybe if she were someone else, I would try to be a tad bit civil for a while longer. But if my foul temper will make her run off, all the better. I don't need servants or their imposters nosing about my business. She stays unperturbed. If anything, she's rooted herself to the spot, still and silent. She looks at me in quiet appraisal, while I try my best to see if I can just ignore her. A difficult feat as her stare makes my skin crawl. What she says next sends a chill up my spine.
But, my lord, that is not what I see. Loneliness casts shadows in your eyes and sharp lines on your face. I see a man who is thinking of the woman he loves. You miss her. You regret. Though I cannot fathom why. She did not deserve you.
With the money and power I have, it's no surprise that there is a target painting on my back. There have been a few times that someone has tried to take care of me. I've been personally insulted before, called a bastard and a demon. They think angering me will make me slip. The very fact that they do try to get rid of me is insulting enough as it is. But this is different. Nobody has spoken of my mother before to get to me, because nobody knew of her. As far as the greater public is concerned, I am the son of Damien Wright, and whoever was unlucky enough to bear me is nothing but an unfortunate footnote in the history of our family.
Who are you? Who sent you? What do you want? How do you know about my mother?
The venom in my voice is apparent, as is the confusion in hers.
Your mother? No, I speak of the woman you wed. Her death was a blessing.
But I don't know if this is any better. Nobody else except for myself, Johans, and the police force should be aware of what befell Hana. It is all kept discreet. The chaos of what will happen if people find out held off. After all, this is an Evans and a Wright we're talking about. She's practically royalty in Luxbourne.
What? How did you?
Without drawing too much attention to it, I reach for the mobile in my pocket. One press would be all it takes to call the other man here so that we can get rid of this pest. I'd do it myself, but I'm unarmed, near defenseless. Well, my phone isn't here.
I'm going out for some fresh air. If anybody calls, tell them they can sod off and bother me another day.
Yep, you gave it to Johans. Of course, of all the time for me to ditch the bloody thing. But I should be able to take care of one woman, right? There's nobody but Johans and I on the property, far removed from the village and the rest of society. A fist to the throat, a quick twist to the neck, and a blade to the jugular. Though, forget that last one. Unfortunately for me, I don't have my knife either. But looking back at her, I freeze in place.
Is something the matter? You look affright.
Yep. That would be the ghost girl. She was trying to be nice, but I guess she decided being nice is done. What? The fuck? I try to scream, but it's stuck in my throat.
Please do not torment yourself. You have nothing to worry about. I would never harm you. This home still needs its lord, our prince. Come, my lord, the house beckons.
Gone was the beautiful woman, and in her place is this grotesque witch. This monster, surreal and horrifying. That's it. I've gone mad. Driven crazy by guilt for the sins I've committed. And this is the devil that would torment me for all eternity. But even the idea that this is all a dream, a nightmare, doesn't stop me from flinching away from her touch. It definitely does not stop me from breaking off at a run. I can feel her eyes on me as I run back into the house. But I refuse to acknowledge it, let alone look back. All I need is to get away from her and make sure she stays away. And if that means acting like a coward and seeking out company to keep me safe, Nobody can tell me to do otherwise. Bravery isn't something to be lauded if it comes along with stupidity. Must have been a sight to see the usually composed and reserved Luke Wright bursting through the doors. But there is a time and a place for keeping appearances. The time when one's life is on the line is not one of them. Mustering up the courage, I look back through the windows to see if she's followed me. She's gone. I feel relieved, though. I really shouldn't. Stopping to catch my breath, Johann's sudden appearance nearly makes me jump out of my skin.
Don't fucking do that! You son of a bitch! If I had a gun, I would have shot you!
If I had any love left for my Mutter, I'd take offense. But what happened to you? You look like you've seen a ghost.
He has. Oh, if only it were such a delusion. No, really, it was. But I can still feel the faintest touch of her fingers. The feeling was too real for her to have been a ghost.
In the garden, there was a woman.
And there's always a woman with you, isn't there?
That's not what I mean. Listen, she knows that Hana is dead.
Strange. The house was empty. Is empty. I made sure of that. Can you describe this woman?
Are you deaf? I told you she knows that Hana is dead. What does it matter what she looks like? What is this with this interrogation anyway? Do you not believe me?
Frustration bleeds into my very being when he just raises his brow at me. What does it matter what she looks like unless we're going to go look for her? Oh, of course. But I have to fight off the panic as I try to recall her features. I hurry up the stairs and into the east hallway with the butler at my heels. All this just to get as far away as I physically can from the gardens before I dare speak of her again.
She had pale skin, dark eyes, and long dark hair. She wouldn't give me her name.
And did she know who killed the madam?
It didn't seem like she knew who it was. But she still knows that Hana is dead. You know I'm not gonna do well if I go under investigation right now.
Rua Bitter, calm down and think, right? The body hasn't been moved. She must have been near it to know of it. If she knows there's a corpse, we can go about this two ways. Either we find her and take care of her, or we...
make her take the fall. That's all well and good. Brilliant. But there's just one thing.
There's already God. They already have a fall guy first and foremost, but the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end at the mere thought of that woman. I don't know if it was a trick of the light, but I don't think I was imagining things. And though he might think me a lunatic, I can only go on.
Well, she was this thing. A monster. A witch. I know how it sounds. I sound like... It sounds like I've gone off my rocker with all that's happened.
I expect to hear disregard, concern for my mental state, and maybe even empty platitudes relating to my guilt. But instead, the other man grows deathly silent, a thoughtful look on his face.
I would normally say that seeing hallucinations is a normal human experience, even if this does not sound like a bereavement hallucination. But the woman you described is familiar. I've seen her before in the mansion. Glimpses.
Yep, which means he's touched too. He's gonna die.
Is she one of ours, then? You must know her name now that you know what she looks like.
I thought at first that her name may have merely slipped my mind. I've asked the head housemaid to reprimand her, for she was always loitering about when I saw her. But the old woman confirms. We do not have anyone fitting the description under our employ.
Which is why he didn't bring it up, because he thought he was losing his mind.
So what I saw, what you saw, what was that? I don't understand. Explain, Shurkin. Please tell me I'm not going mad.
We will have a head count of the female staff in the morning, and I'll assign stricter security protocols when the staff returns. It's better we rule things out before jumping to conclusions. I will have to check for tampering as well.
Tampering?
Psychotropic drugs to start off with, perhaps in the water supply. I suggest you not worry yourself about it. You are unharmed. That is what matters right now. If it makes you feel any better, I'll stand guard outside for the night.
No, that does nothing to make me feel any better. If that woman was a hallucination, a waking nightmare, what could a god do to stop her from appearing before me once more? And if she comes into my dreams, I'd loathe to think I would need to cry for help, like An infant in need of his mother. A tense silence befalls us, and though I don't dare to speak it out loud, I would say that we both seem scared. Often I'm the first to break anything of the sort. But
Shall I put them in a vase?
I'm confused before I realize what I have in my grip.
What? Oh, these? I didn't realize I still had them.
I really did not. But there they were, still in my grip. Are the daffodils I had taken from the garden. Even in the wake of my flight, I had refused to let go of them, whether I was conscious of it or not. They should be for Mother. They could be for Hana, too. What does it even matter? What do dead women care for flowers? Well, I suppose Hana would have loved them.
No, I think I'll take them with me. And if you don't mind, I'm going to turn in for the night.
Of course. I shan't keep you any longer. I'll be out here if you need anything.
I don't care enough to show any sign that I've heard him, retreating into the master bedroom without another word. I tossed the bouquet of daffodils to the bed with only a minute glance at the nursery door. The thing is sealed with police tape, garish, ugly, and tacky in all of these places. They've already taken the body to the LCPD morgue sometime while I was talking with Officer Lee yesterday. They made quick work of it, my boys, because they knew the proper investigation was pointless if I have a story to feed them. There'd be nothing left of her there but bloodstains and a chalk outline. Not bothering to strip off my clothes, I flop onto the bed, tired and alone. I've always been a light sleeper. One has to be growing up as I did. Living in a bad neighborhood meant that the possibility of break-ins were all too real and frequent. A horrible thought considering what little material possession we had. That was the least of our problems, of course. With my mother's profession, many would threaten violence as well, towards both her and I. And things never change, even now that I'm in a better place. But at the very least, I have one less thing to worry about tonight. Because really, that Zachary was a bloody blessing in disguise. I needed a way to cover up Hannah's death or make it so that I wasn't a suspect. By some stroke of luck, the answer to my problems just broke into my house and waltzed in. He will take the fall. The fucker had already gone into the room on his own. His DNA is already going to be all over the place to incriminate him. If that's not enough, it'll be easy to falsify evidence. I can make sure of that. Still, the thought of that woman yesterday and the danger that she presents was enough to wake me up several times throughout the night. So, suffice to say, I am not very happy that anyone would dare to separate me from my true love. The bed. The rain that had started sometime during the night didn't help the mood. Okay, maybe it helps just a little. The strange sunny weather has been nice and all, but for it to return, as it should be, feels like a good sign of things to come. Perhaps things will settle back down and the crazy drama that has gone on lately will die down. The rhythmic pitter-patter of the rain fills the early morning silence with a steady beat. Thank goodness I don't have to be anywhere in a hurry today. I would hate to be caught unawares in this rain. With how it looks outside, it seems that the weather is making up for all the sunny days it has given us with a good old-fashioned downpour. It does let up within a quarter of an hour, however. A day beginning with a cloudburst like this, locals usually take it as an immediate sign. Luxborn's abysmal weather is back, likely for good. There's this rubbish about how the heavens cry with you through the rain. If anyone sentimental enough knows what I've done, they'd probably spout this stupid thought my way. Well, I think it's a load of bull. Hannah would roll in her grave at the thought that the heavens made it rain for her. She was never one for the dreary weather, always enjoying the scarce sunshine on rare sunny days. She had been loving the abnormally sunny week thus far. If only things had not come to this. But it is already far too late to regret everything, and thankfully somebody interrupts before I can start brooding on the what-ifs. Perhaps the only time I can appreciate the man's insufferable prying.
Are you really going to stay in bed all day?
What do you want?
You must have been really rattled by what happened yesterday. If you need to talk about it, I am quite qualified in that regard.
And you aren't even the slightest bit bothered? Truly? Not even the slightest bit worried?
I was worried. But I realized that it's not my life in danger, is it? My worrying will not help matters. Neither will yours.
The detached manner in which he admits this annoys me to no end.
Oh, as a matter of fact, it is your life in danger. Because if I find you lacking, if that woman finds their way anywhere near me again, you'll be following in the footsteps of your predecessor. Are we clear? Do what you have to. In fact, it'd be best if you keep busy. Do what needs to be done, and if I see you even idling for 1 second, I won't be happy.
He doesn't say anything. There's no witty retort. It isn't a threat, but a promise after all. I don't take kindly to incompetence, especially when it comes to affairs that affect my very safety. I will kill if it ensures that I live.
Are there any updates about the woman?
Being in the dark has me on edge. Information, any at all, may very well help me in calming down.
I've already briefed security about her, and more from the agency will be arriving tonight. But they haven't seen anyone fitting the description.
So you have nothing then? Fat lot of use you guys are. What do I even pay you for? Do me a favor. There's the door. Don't let it hit you on your way out.
Well, there is something. It's about McCulloch.
Though I'll deny it, I do find myself a tiny bit interested.
I called her secretary about taking the day off. He hasn't heard from her over the weekend.
Ever consider she might be putting her paycheck to good use? Probably somewhere out there getting drunk, having a shag. And I envy her for it. As long as she's here for work, what and who she does in her free time is her business.
Hell, maybe she's found another client to sleep with. I'll commend her if that's the case. It's a good way as any to make connections and get business. I would be a hypocrite and a liar if I had said I didn't get some of my business that way. Scratches the itch, too.
That's all well and good, but she's not answering her mobile either. Mr. Parker will be filling a missing persons case with the police if she doesn't turn up today.
Okay, interesting as all this is, why bring this to my attention? If we've lost an interior designer, just find someone else to take her place.
If I knew that letting Hannah hire her would bring so much trouble, I would have stopped it at just sex.
The last anyone has seen of her was here, the morning of the party.
There it is.
Your housewarming party.
That isn't good news.
It wouldn't do for the police to hear of this, and to suspect.
It's of little import that I can easily prove my innocence. It is all a matter of principle. Because even the accusation of misdemeanor should not stain my reputation. Although maybe it is a bit too late to hope for a squeaky clean one. Besides, it'll be a hassle to have police poking around the house looking for a body that doesn't exist.
Now, if we're done here, I'd like to go back to sleep and...
Where are you?
Ah, here we go. Screw what Hannah said. She's dead now.
Johans, distract her.
Oh, look, it's time for me to go. Have fun with your little play date. So long, farewell, and auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
Oh, good eyes.
Did you just wake up? Don't tell me you forgot. It's our playdate today.
I nearly did, really. It's hard to remember something as trivial as an ordinary playdate when there's a murder fresh on one's mind. But there's this instinct long ingrained to act as if everything is normal in spite of the blood on my hands. Else, I would have spiraled out of control a long time ago, and things wouldn't be as good as they are now. Besides, she's a bright child. Tolerable. Kid's got a good head on her shoulders and can get pretty mature for her age at times. Of course, they have me to thank for that. Her parents can take partial credit, but Hannah and I have been there for this kid since she was just a small babe. The thing is some antique doll she found for the brat's 6th birthday. One of a kind. My darling Hannah loved her so. And Kylie does try to be a good goddaughter. But she just can't keep her interest along with the wife. If it becomes too much, I just bribe her with sweets or ship her back to her papa. Problem solved. Unfortunately, Hannah hasn't been quite up for those sort of things most of the time, thinking it'd spoil the child. It turned a whole playdate awkward every time. She talks of her older brother, Rowan, and her parents, how they plan to go to the Block's land in Berkshire for the winter holidays. She mentions Miss Pink, Rebecca, which I listened to with half an ear. Our initial meeting had been a mess, but I can't quite find myself to listen to stories about her teacher wholeheartedly, the phantom sting in my hand still itching. Bratz is quick to defend her favorite academic as well. The woman has yet to offer a proper apology, and she wishes to give one on her behalf, all diplomatic-like. Like I taught her. She talks of the sad man in the park, and of her new friend who likes to play hide-and-seek when she's not sniffling in the loo. But for now, I can take this piece with no complaint for however long it stays. I have fun with the crayons as well, at the child's insistence, even if I can't really draw. With Kylie using the black crayon, that leaves me with the yellow one. I absent-mindedly start to doodle flowers, which are just about the only thing I can actually do decently. I'm halfway filled the page with the yellow when Kylie breaks her silence.
Are you alright, Tio? I heard about what happened to Tia.
I feel as if the ground was pulled from under me for a moment there. Caught off guard as I am. I was expecting a lot of different questions. The kid always has a whole bunch of them ready for me. But this? How much maneuvering do I have to make in order for her to drop this topic?
And what exactly did you hear?
They say that a bad man hurt her. Is that why she's not here right now, Tio?
Yep. That black man's arrest isn't exactly a state secret. And it isn't exactly common knowledge either. It only happened yesterday after all. I asked members of the press who found out not to cover it until I am ready. To give me time to grieve if I told them. Complete bullshit.
The other grown-ups won't tell me when I ask. This is just like when my pet Pato disappeared! Papa and Mama wouldn't tell me what happened to him! They just told me that she's gone to a better place. Now they're saying Tia's gone, but they won't tell me where she went! All they say is that they caught the bad man who hurt her! Please tell me, Tio! What happened to her? Is she gone too? Like Pato? Because of that man?
My answer catches in the back of my throat. It feels as if I'm drowning on air. It's like you said. A bad man hurt her. I killed her. That's the whole truth, no sugarcoating it. And there are 101 reasons why I cannot confess. Though the most important reason in this moment is that, well, I don't want Kylie to be afraid of me. To see her bubbly face break into one of horror and disgust. If that happened, I don't know if I could keep on pretending that I'm anything but a monster. But I cannot find it in myself to lie to her. At the same time, telling the truth will kill me. She must have taken my silence for confirmation. Though I have to look away when she starts crying, only realizing that the dampness of my own cheeks. And when my own shaking is too much for me, I hide my face in my hands ashamed. It feels like forever where we don't say anything. I'm only pulled out of my own self-loathing and despair when I feel a light touch on my knee.
Tia was a really, really nice lady. She always smiled whenever I visit. And she wasn't mean. Even when I called her boring and my mama scolded me, she only laughed. We didn't play much, but she'd always give me a hug.
She was a good godparent after all. And not I, for all that the child liked calling me the fairy godfather. Hannah would always say that it's my fault that Kylie favored me more than her, called me a godchild thief in jest. But then she would always look so proud of me when I took care of the child.
I'll miss her, Tio.
As do I. So very much, Munchkin. I miss our Tia so much.
And even with her teary eyes, she gives me a small smile. She moves her hand to grasp mine and gives my hand a gentle squeeze.
What about the babies? You miss them too?
What babies, Munchkin?
The nursery sealed by the police tape comes to mind. Johannes knew of it. Not a complete surprise, but Kylie? Kylie knew? Wait. Babies? More than one? How many more knew that Hannah was with child? Children even, before I found out.
Her doctor said there were 2 of them. Tia and Teal's babies. They're twins.
Oh! Wonderful. Shit.
That's terrible, Teal. You forgot about them already?
She says more, but everything around me wavers. Nausea building. Sounds around me dull down to a buzzing in the air, and I can only hunch over, stare at my hands, afraid that I would throw up. I feel sick. I'm sick. I don't think I can spend any more time with Kylie, considering how high-strung I feel. So it's a good thing that Suarez came for her as soon as I called. Though it is earlier than the agreed-upon time, he voices no complaint. Bastard even has a look of relief as soon as they leave. Though it does take long for these sensations to get into my head, through my eyes and my ears, it creeps up, buzzes in between spaces. A lovely meal in the gardens on a rare sunny day. The Lord and his lady cannot be any happier, but one woman seethes, looking on in despair. Jealousy presents itself, like wriggling worms trying to force themselves down my throat.
I'm so delighted you can be here with me today, my love. I miss you so.
I am but your most humble servant, milady. I do regret that the trades keep me away far too often. But simply say the word and I'll...
Oh, hush. It is of little import now. All that matters is you are here, my love. Now enough with that. I have good news. Do you recall the confectionery we used to frequent? From the western edge of the village, down by the river?
I feel sick, utterly green in the gills at the sensation, lasting until its image is all but washed away by another. She nearly drops her tray as she enters her lady's bedchambers. The lady is being taken against the wall like a common street whore. That man is not her lord, her prince, but she is not of a station that will allow her to judge. That doesn't keep the shock from her features or from her voice.
Milady, I've brought the My apologies.
Her voice is small, subdued, and shy, though the lady needs no words to express her displeasure as her face turns from one of pleasure into one of anger and accusation. Her glare burns, focused and scalding. If looks could murder, the servant girl would be dead where she stands. All the while her lover still moves in and out of her, either unaware of their audience or enjoying the act even more because of it. It hurts. She doesn't want this.
You lacked care. You forget your place, and you've indulged yourself far too much in this fantasy of yours.
This is vile. Like vomit and slush brushing against my skin before it covers me until I'm weighed down. Disgusting. Wrong. Stop it!
You've overstepped your boundaries and livery.
Stop it! This is wrong. Please.
May I remind you that you are nothing but a servant, a slave, an unattractive, unchaste harlot who thinks too much of herself.
Please, no more. My heart feels like it's seizing in my chest, like it's being squeezed and the pressure won't stop until it bursts.
Are you truly storming off over some hearsay? Be sensible!
What you did, it is... There are no words. You bring disgrace to this family. This rotten noble standing in front of me is not the cousin I grew up with.
Oh, they're cousins.
This is not the lady I fell in love with.
Oh! Oh, it's one of those. Game of Thrones called.
She would never do such unspeakable things, Charlotte!
I bring disgrace. I bring disgrace. I am not the idiot who's running off in the middle of the night. You promised, Edward. You gave me your word. Don't you dare turn your back on me. I swear to you, if you step 1 foot out of these lands, mark my words, Edward, I will.
What? What is it you swear? Will your men steal me away, defile me too like what you did to yourself?
There's an undercut of fear. I'm in danger, my head screams at me. And there is hurt. A deep burning shame I can feel on the woman's behalf. Looking at her on its own, it's a chore I cannot bear. Over and over it hurts. The pain, however, is not overbearing or blinding. It is the littlest of cuts, and the bruising of flesh by blunt force. It dribbles down my cheeks and my mouth. There is a pounding in my head. It is not blinding, but that makes it all starker. Everything hurts.
Please, milady, he need not suffer. I beg of you, have mercy. You already have me to do as you please. He deserves none of this.
Why is this happening?
Silence, before I cut out that impertinent tongue of yours and feed it to the dogs. You will watch and you will learn what happens when I am displeased.
What have I done to deserve this? Whispers and accusations fill every crevice of my mind, ringing and echoing around like a terrible case of tinnitus. They stare, gazes filled with judgment and disgust. Even before their beloved lady has spoken, she's already condemned.
This horrid woman! I beg the court for justice! Who knows what this devil's bride is capable of? She has already bewitched my love, my betrothed. I just cannot bear to think of what she has done to him after. Or what else she may do to our people if we let her live. Blood tastes this woman's hands, and I deserve to be repaid in kind for that which she has taken from me.
There is nothing for her but death. And she knows this. Her silence says as much. One after the other they come at me. An unending flood that threatens to sweep me away for what feels like an eternity. Each one a show of both joy and suffering for those who have called this mansion their home. Each new scene is like a hammer to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it in two. I can feel every little emotion in the blurry images that present itself in my head. I feel a part of these, like I've lived through them, though I know that is not possible. All their anger burns through me. That much is evident. But the pain more so. And above all of it are the whispers. The voices calling, luring, until one image emerges in vivid contrast to the others. When there's a shout of joy, my eyes snap open, looking for the culprit. That's when the room just changes. Everything is the same, yet everything isn't. There are people everywhere, laughing, dancing. I should be concerned with them, but my mind finds it easy to dismiss them as they fade in and out from nothingness. I should be concerned about their intrusion too. Ask what in bloody hell they are doing in my house, throwing a party as if they own the place. Ask myself how the fuck I didn't notice what was going on before when the parlor and the foyer are both only a few doors away. There's a horrid feeling of envy. And though I have long accepted that I am a jealous person by nature, I have never felt such a strong feeling of envy as I have now. They were happy with each other, these people, but Hannah and I, envy turned into anger. Anger for something I could not have. And I have the feeling that yelling and screaming at them won't do much, if anything anyway. None of the others have given me notice. I realize that this might not even be real. It dawns on me that these two are the people from the paintings, the ones all over the mansion. Which makes sense. I don't think I'm imaginative enough to make all of this up on my own. This must be a dream. Or a really horrible high. Just then I feel all eyes on me as I contemplate the absurdity of the situation. Yet I find difficulty in trying to tear my eyes away from the two dancing. I manage. And I regret looking away. The woman from the garden stands next to me. I can hear her rattling breath, menacing and chilling. Everything in me screams to run. But something pins me to the spot as she just looks at me, watching and waiting. The clamor of their voices fills the ballroom. Although they say such welcoming words, I do not feel comforted by the madness I'm experiencing. Their joyous voices turn sinister and foreboding to my ears. The chorus of people that shouldn't exist, threaten to overwhelm me, drown me, even as I stand on dry land.
You're one of us, my lord. We are bonded by the blood we've shed.
So, I wonder if Luke's actually a descendant of Charlotte's cousin and betrothed. And that's why the ghost girl is obsessed with him. But I thought the voices were overwhelming before. It is nothing compared to how they are now. Their voices are loud, speaking in unison and echoing over ever on the space of my head. Get inside. We barely taken a step in when my mobile rings. Looking at it shows an unmarked number, most likely one of my boys. I don't even have the time to speak before a nervous voice breaks through.
Hey boss, it's Carl from LPD.
Oh! Carl was his man. I see. He was one of the ones that held Ash back from attacking him. Okay.
We've sort of got a situation here at the precinct.
I recognize the voice and the name. Carl, one of the police on my payroll, and one of the few I've trusted to ensure the black man's guilt in Hannah's murder is a done deal. To hear from him now promises nothing but more trouble and headaches.
More problems! More problems! For goodness sake, I don't really need any more. What is it?
Well, you know the missus's body, in the morgue.
Well, of course I know of it, yes! What kind of numpty do you take me for? I don't know why you're calling me about this, though.
See, boss, it's gone. Your wife's body is missing from the morgue.
And the black man was found dead in his cell.
And the coroner who was looking it over as well. Dead.
Oh. Okay, did not expect that. I expected many a thing. Maybe the coroner asking for twice the usual pay to muck up things because of Hannah's celebrity status. Perhaps a hiccup in the system that needed expert advice from one of my lawyers. But a disappearing corpse and a dead coroner?
What?
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't looked through security tapes yet. But I thought you ought to know, and...
Then, go look at the security tapes before bothering me with this, you incompetent fool!
What do I even pay these people for if I have to do everything myself?
Listen to me. And listen to me good. I have problems of my own right now. So, if you'd like to keep your tiny head on your tiny shoulders, you'd best go look for the body and not bother me about it again. Is that understood, Carl?
No, sir. I mean, yes, sir. Of course, what was he thinking wasting your time with this, huh? Me and A are going to deal with this. No problem.
As time and experience proves, if money doesn't work, threats do. At least for the moment. Also, who's A? Is A Abigail? Because that would very fucking disappoint me. But it's good enough for me if it gets me off of this call and back to making sure I am safe.
Who was that?
One of those incompetent officers from the LPD. They say Hannah's body is gone from the morgue. Can you believe them? I don't even want to think about what happened to it right now. Fucking Christ, will this day not end?
I feel tired. So tired. And the only thing keeping me awake is the thought that that woman is still somewhere out there. But the thought of just sleeping through it all while Johannes keeps God is just heavenly right now.
Whatever. They'll call back later.
You're not worried?
Well, what do you want me to do? Drive to the city and try to look for the corpse of my wife? 1, Shrokin, the city is big. 2, it's LPD's job to keep an eye on the corpse. They didn't, it's their mess to fix.
For the moment, at least. I just don't see what other problem that might pop up for this. We have a scapegoat. I have an alibi. Harvey will make sure that gollywag will be convicted. That's not nice. Money, reputation, connections, the company I've built. Everything. I have it all. That's a reason to be happy. Right?
Now, if you'll excuse me, since you insisted I stay here, I might as well get some rest. Leave, Shrokin.
Of course.
Despite his words, he lingers. If I didn't know any better, I'd say he wants to make sure I get in that damn bed and sleep before he turns away from me. What am I, a child? Watching me and treating me like one? There's the reason why we will never get along.
Well, what are you waiting for?
Nothing. I just hope you're happy.
Verily, now mush!
As you wish.
Only then does he seem to get the hint. With a nod, he leaves, locks and closes the door behind him. For a moment I still hear his voice while he gives the guards outside firm instructions, then a hush as soon as he departs and his footsteps fade away. One that doesn't quite last. As quickly as the silence settles, lightning flashes across the sky, followed immediately by the loud boom of thunder. And that wanker strikes so dangerously close that I can feel the electricity in the air. Power goes out not a second later, and I feel as if I'm being mocked by whatever greater power there is. All is deathly still for a moment, but soon the rain starts once again. Far heavier than the light drizzle from this morning, its pitter-patter hitting hard against this place's roof. Despite the noise, I find myself drawn to my bed, exhausted, hoping for a little nap. I am safe here. LPD will find her, and when I wake, I won't have anything to worry about. It does not take long. Once my head hits the pillow, in a matter of minutes, darkness claims me, bringing with it laughters and whispers of the twisted love from a long time ago.
Who are you? Stay away!
Sweet dreams, my love. It'll be over soon.
Yet in spite of the unfamiliar voices and unwanted touches from shadows lurking in the dark, rousing is a slow, arduous process. Difficult, every limb heavy with lead. No matter my aversion for the words they murmur in my ears or the sight of her horrid smile from afar, my body refuses to yield. I am at their mercy.
You do not belong there, my love.
Not that I mind getting a few extra hours, of course. The bed's more than comfortable as it is, after an exhausting day yesterday. Let the butler take care of the little problem with Hannah once those dunderheads from LPD call in for an update, while Hannah's body is still missing. Hannah's still missing, and the trespasser's still out there.
You do not need her. I am here. We are here. This is where your home is. Where you belong. For all that blood you shed. Come back to us.
How long has it been since? Is finding a dead body really that hard?
Surely there should have been an update by now. Right?
So why isn't there one?
Please don't go.
Bloody hell, the cretins I've surrounded myself with.
And isn't that enough reason to force myself out of bed? As it has always been the case. My eyes fly open, expecting the warm rays of sunshine glittering through the curtains, only to be greeted by a blinding flash of light and a loud boom of thunder that sounded nearly too close to my ears. Strong gusts of wind will occasionally burst in from the open balcony door, bringing in drizzles of cold rain into the room. I must have left it open earlier before dozing off. The carpet on the floor closest to it is already drenched. Hannah would be crossed if she were still here. Not that it's an immediate concern. If anything, it's this power outage we should be minding first. But the intruder still at large, steering through this darkness, might be far more fatal than multiple stab wounds. Or a gunshot to the chest.
Oh, great. The power's still out. That is exactly what I need right now. Yes.
It's this storm, of course. I should have moved back to the penthouse to the weather in a much more comfortable setting. Already I can hear the creak and groan of this old place as rain beats against the windows.
Johans! Has someone been sent to check the circuit breaker yet?
No answer.
Johans?
Silence.
Shroken! Someone! Anyone?
Still nothing, and my cordial mood is quickly dissipating.
Where are those idiots when you need them?
It's really a wonder why he hasn't fixed this yet. Was I really out that long? Can't be. It has only been a few hours after midnight, if the time on my wristwatch is anything to go by. Unless I've forgotten to change it again after that last overseas trip a month ago. Although the delay is understandable. In the storm, I'll bet this house has given him another problem to fix. Bloody rush jobs. My safety's at stake here. But of course, right after I've made the effort and I'm already dressed and on my feet, without even waiting for my permission, the door swings open and in comes Shrokin, striding into the room like he owns the place. No respect for authority at all. Though he does pause midway to glance at where I'm at once he notices the empty bed. The look on his face when his eyes land on me, I can't decide if he's simply cautious or scandalized. Last I've checked, I look decent enough. Is it the hair?
Oh, you're already up.
But really, why do I let him get away with such disrespect? Why do I keep anyone? Sometimes I think I'm better off alone, you know? Then again, I wouldn't have anyone to boss around if I lived on my own.
Did you come in here just to sass me? And before you do that, I'll have you know that I've been calling you for a good...
We have a problem.
He says that as if he's simply talking about the weather and not a problem. Not that I find anything new in it. The man's humor has always been as dry as a bone. You won't even know he was told a joke until there was an awkward silence in the room. Probably why this irks me. Because if there's one thing ever since we started living in this mansion that has remained consistent, it's that word. Somehow every single day we have to deal with a problem. I'm not entirely sure how exactly he's expecting me to react after dropping another bomb like that on me. Just after waking up at that. On top of Hannah's dead body missing, this power failure, and that woman who keeps trespassing in my home. Forgive me, I have every right to be this cheesed off in the middle of the night.
What do you mean we have a problem? Haven't we had enough for one night? Good Lord! Do I have to be the one to fix everything, every little issue that pops up in this house? Do I have to be there every single time? Can't you just fix it?
My men know I dislike doing legwork unless it is of the utmost necessity and importance. If I did do something on my own, it is only done in the direst of situations. That, or I must be very, very bored.
I can, but I thought you might want to see this one for yourself before any disposal occurs.
For all my exasperation over this, he sure does know how to get me interested.
Where?
He's in the study right now. Sound asleep, though it won't be long before he wakes up. I found him nosing around the attic. Odd if you ask me. Not quite sure why he went there. A door away and he would have gotten easily to you. Unless you're not the reason why he's here.
He? So there are, what, 2 different people trying to get to me?
That's already one too many to deal with. What is wrong with these people?
Possibly. There might be more. You really aren't a likable sort. And this shouldn't be surprising anymore. Didn't you used to count how many enemies you've made? I believe it was a yearly thing. Or have you already stopped?
Normally I'd point out Hannah likes me well enough. After all, that's all that matters. Or at least it used to. But she's already dead. Killed by her own husband. Even if I say she loved me in life, the fact that she died by my own hands is already enough reason for her to hate me in death.
Why do you even care if I'm still counting or not? And we're wasting time here. Come on now, lackey. If you say he's in the study, to the study we go. And mush.
Sometimes I must wonder how well you sleep at night. And why I haven't smothered you yet.
I can only laugh in amusement and shake my head as I step out. But I do not grace his question with an answer. Though I have something in mind. Perhaps it's because I'm a fun boss. And tonight, we really are going to have lots of fun. I haven't looked forward to something in a while. Bloody. I don't think I've done this enough these past few years. It does actually feel quite refreshing to be back doing what I used to, even if it's only for one night. And after we're done with him and get what we need from him, there'll be one less problem to worry about. Win-win if anyone bothers asking me. Things are finally looking up. The idiot's still unconscious when we march into the study. Though with the rolling pin sitting so completely out of place atop my desk, I'm not shocked. Getting hit by one must have dislodged his brain by a few paces. In fact, I'm already willing to bet he'll be out until sunrise. Here's to hoping the way Shrokin has cuffed him will damage him first. Being bound like that is guaranteed to cut off circulation in his arms at some point. Painful, but where's the fun in that? He has the gall, though, walking into my home looking like a little pig fresh off bathing under the sun and rolling in a patch of dirt. Just because you're trespassing or about to kill someone doesn't mean you have the right to walk into other people's homes dirty. Really, sloshing your muddy boots about and sullying the floor. No wonder he got the metal rolling pin and not the pan. Bloody. Even my late mom, bless her soul, poor tortured soul, wouldn't tolerate that. Where are his manners?
I swear, people need to stop breaking into my house! What is wrong with all these lunatics? You'd think they'd put more thought before stumbling into somebody else's home unannounced. This on top of my wife's dead body, which is missing from the bloody morgue.
I suppose the act of committing crime must have some attraction to the insane. Of course, you'd know all about that, wouldn't you?
I'd bloody gut you. But you won't be able to clean up after if you're the sorting corpse, will you?
But more than that, a look of pain crossed his pretty face when I gripped his chin with feigned glee. He appears familiar. I just can't recall where I've seen his mug before. Certainly not in a place I frequent, although if it was someone who looks, well, still not as good looking as me, of course, but to some degree, decent, he seems to lack the brain capacity and etiquette to complete the package. Disappointing, I might add. What with that fancy coat? He better prove interesting to make up for it. Light marks mar his skin where my nails dig into him, and I have to wonder how much more I have to push before I break skin. I don't have time to figure it out, though, as a moment later the little pig stirs with a soft groan.
I'd love to see you try. When was the last time you... Oh, there we go. The Dummkopf is waking up.
Fuck.
Huh, awake already. He's only been out a few minutes. Shrokin, did you not hit him hard enough? Shouldn't he be out longer? That rolling pin was made of metal. His skull must be very thick.
I only want to knock him out, not kill him, silly man. If I really wished him dead, I could have easily targeted his Terion. That, or the back of his neck, just below. Oh well, look at it this way. It is good news. This means he'll be capable of giving you the answers you seek, yes?
True. I do have many questions for our trespasser here.
At least he does prove to be fun, if a little frustrating with his act. Especially when it's my turn. When was the last time I've had to interrogate anyone? It's been a while, hasn't it? I do hope I haven't gotten rusty. But I do remember the basics. And one of the first things one has to remember is to make sure the poor sap who got the short end of the stick can't fight back.
I'm telling you, you saw that letter, didn't you? I don't know how it works, but everyone who's seen it ends up dead, or in an accident if they don't go missing entirely. I know this sounds crazy, but you have to believe me.
And we're back to the madman ramblings.
He believes me a fool, saying that he came here to help me rather than harm. If that isn't the worst excuse I've heard, I don't know what is. I want to make him regret thinking he can play me like a fiddle.
Make him pay, my love. You do not deserve to be treated the way you did, taking you for a fool.
I say it time and time again. There's always a certain joie de vivre of having power over another man. Schadenfreude, Johannes calls it. Not absolute power, mind you. I always like a little spark, a little spice, a little fire in my poison of choice. Whether it's alcohol, food, or sex, or even enemies. Easy is boring. A little challenge never hurt anyone. Because there's little point in hurting someone who won't even fight back. There's no satisfaction in trying to win against another who would rather grovel, cry, or beg at one's feet, curled up like a little child wailing for their mother
And when we're done with him, there's a nice plot of land for new daffodils. You'll make excellent fertilizer. Sounds like a plan, doesn't it?
And where was I? Ah, yes. There's a joy in bringing men like the detective to the brink of despair, to have them realize that they have little power in the face of harsh reality, and making them concede that I am the better man using the business end of my knife.
While we're at it, why don't you be a good boy and close your eyes? I really don't like the way you're looking at me. If looks could kill, really. I think I'd be dead on the spot, close your pretty little eyes unless you want me to pluck them out with a spoon.
Some might call me a sadist. And some might actually even go further and call me a monster. I do admit to the former. And a small part of me fears that I love the thought of being the latter.
It is of no consequence, my love. I am here. It is all that matters. Us.
But at the end of it all, I am just a man who hungers. For excitement. For power. For control. Unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately for him, he passes out not too long after. Hanging limp from where he's been shackled, blood dripping onto the floor from every wound we've inflicted on him.
Mad props to little pig, though. All that effort from us, and we still got nothing from him. Tough little bastard.
Either he's been trained for this, or he has simply lost consciousness before I can spill anything. Meanwhile, Shrokin makes a face at the mess we've made, although wisely keeps his mouth shut. He is in no place to complain when I've given him enough freedom tonight, and he is responsible for this. Without a single comment or dry quip, he's out the door, muttering something about getting it disinfected and some cleaning effects from the kitchen, leaving me in the silence of the room, or as silent as it can be with the storm raging outside. The winds have intensified. The windows in the rafters have begun creaking in earnest. Any harder, and I think this whole house might fall. I hope not. I did not live this long to die helplessly under a bunch of century-old beams collapsing on me. I'd rather be burned alive and be condemned for my sins, really. Makes for a great exit when you think about it. Thankfully, it's a thought that doesn't linger long. Soon enough, Shrokin returns, slamming the door open with much force. I almost jump. He looks frazzled, hair and suit in disarray, as if he just made a mad dash for the kitchen or he's seen a ghost. Although he's still far from a person panicking, it's the closest he can get to it with the wild look on his eyes. And slowly, like he's easing me into it.
We have another problem, right?
Again?
Too close. Too close to drawing my gun and just shooting him. If I didn't have the patience of a saint right here and right there. You should be grateful this little activity with little pig has taken some of the tension I've been carrying since yesterday.
Oh, tell me, Shrokin, Johann. How many more of these little problems are there for me to fix tonight? What the bloody fuck is it this time?
That inner architect we lost?
Inner architect? Interior architect? Did my brain translate that right?
Wait, what? Mint? What about Marianne?
I found her.
To say this doesn't worry me might be a bit of an understatement. Her secretary, was just called us yesterday looking for her. Last time people have seen her was before the party. Here. And suddenly she shows up again in the same place we went missing. There will be a whole slew of problems attached to this.
What do you mean you found her? I know her assistant said she's been missing over the weekend, but goodness. Did she get locked in... where? The cupboards? The wine cellar? I know she's Irish and they have a reputation, but that's hilarious if true.
Did she sneak in and get stuck in there? Please don't tell me she was just drinking the weekend away down there. This was priceless. I half wish Johannes would just carry her right here. Out here. Would just carry her right out here, just to make fun of her.
Oh God, where is she? Oh, I've got to see this for myself. I could use a win tonight.
However, there is no humor in the other man's looks, even as he nearly busts my gut laughing.
Right. She is dead. It is her corpse, and it is not at all a pretty sight.
Now that he mentions it, I have noticed a sickly sweet smell wafting from the cellar door in the few times I've passed by. I thought that perhaps it was another bottle of wine dropping by another dullard from the staff. Now that this has come to light, it might be the rank stench of old meat and cheap perfume, of a body gradually decaying. And knowing what it is, or rather, who it is, makes me want to throw up.
Jesus bloody Christ! How even? Has no one been down there to check the stocks?
Not since the party, no.
And she, what, starved to death down there?
Can't be. hasn't been long enough for her to starve. It'll take 3 weeks for someone to actually starve to death. Moreover, even if it was wine, there's plenty for her to drink down there to at least keep going for the 3 or 4 days she'd been down there.
I did not linger long enough for a proper look. It looks like her head has been nearly cut off. Rather poorly at that. You could take a look if you like.
I don't think I want to see that, no. But I can't come up with a witty or scathing denial to his kind offer. Not as my mind struggles to just let this all sink in.
Bloody hell! I just want to go to bed. Forget all this shite ever happened. Can this day possibly get any worse? Anyway, let's just get this whole thing over with. The cellar, right? How can a person just die right there?
And unable to answer that question, there's a long while where the both of us are quiet and nothing but the pitter-patter of the rain fills the air while we head to the cellar. All of a sudden, nothing's funny about this anymore. And taking the gun with me seems a good call. Fuck. I also need a drink. Really, if I can, I will not give a flying fuck about this. Johannes could just get rid of the body and be done with it. But whoever had the audacity to leave a dead interior designer, a well-known one at that, in my home needs to be taken care of. To leave that kind of loose end is dangerous. I'd rather not have a knife in the back while I sleep, and I certainly don't want to be accused of murders I'm not even responsible for. It'd be embarrassing to have trouble because of a frame-up. Jesus Christ, I can feel a headache coming on already just thinking about all of this. How did it come to this? It's one bad luck after another. The only thing we did was buy a house, for fuck's sake. I didn't ask for extras like this. It's a good thing no one comes down here unless there's a need to restock the kitchen's wine supply. Not without reason, and not without Johannes or myself ordering them. I don't go down here by myself. I may have a penchant for good wine, but I don't go through our supply that fast. Because it's obvious by the smell that something's really died in here. The reality's just sinking into me now. Going by it alone has been there far longer than a dead body should be left stuck in an enclosed space. To sum it up, it's horrendous.
It takes somebody without a nose to get through this horrible stench. Please don't tell me it's not too far from here.
She's just on the other side of this shelf.
Oh, great, more walking.
It's been a while since I last had to tolerate the stench of rotting corpses. Perhaps for that reason why a whiff of this one comes off worse when it shouldn't. Isn't there some kind of a rule in this? Shouldn't there have been a delay of some kind before it starts smelling like this? Or perhaps it's because I'm no longer as used to it as I've been in the past. Has it been years? No wonder my first instinct is to balk, my back hitting the wall once her body comes into view and Shrokin reviews the handkerchief covering her face.
Fuck, what the hell happened to you, Mint? Oh, that looks horrid.
She likely died from the wound first.
Where I can easily pretend that the other corpses I've seen in my life are just sleeping the same does not apply to the other woman. The slit in her neck is a jagged mess. Thanks to the room's humidity, decay has just started. Elsewhere, she would have already started rotting, eaten away by maggots long before we even found her. For a moment, once the horror has passed, I consider putting her death on that man like I've done with Hannah. But why should I even? Nobody else knows of her just yet. We can just make her body disappear along with the detective once we're done with him. That'd be a simpler route. And this will have to be decided later. Suddenly, Shrokin gestures for me from the other end of this passage. Just a few paces away from Mikola, he stands glaring at some part of the wall as if it has offended him. I raise an eyebrow in question, but he merely answers with a gesture of his head.
Another thing you need to see.
And I immediately know why. Where his eyes are trained, a door lies slightly ajar. One that shouldn't have been there in the first place. A frown quickly appears on my forehead as I stare at it, and where it offers a small glimpse of the room on the other side. I can barely see anything, but from what little my eyes can catch beyond the darkness.
Are those jail cells?
So it seems, I'm afraid.
Whoa, what? In my own home, underneath my own house, right in the place where I sleep and live.
Oh look, Ash was correct.
You have not been made aware of this?
Obviously, do you see this face? Do I look very happy about this? Do I look unsurprised about this? What else is in there? Bones! Oh, more dead people! Oh, Christ, how many?
His reaction's pretty great. Not gonna lie.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God.
For someone who is used to putting bullets in other people's heads, you're very cross about this.
Oh, what did you expect? There's a dead interior designer over there. Lunatics have been going in and out of my home. And now I find out that there are places in this bloody mansion I haven't been made aware of, full of little surprises for myself or the fucking police. So yes, I am very cross about this, Shrokin. What's next? A magical, mystical, spooky graveyard in my bathroom?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past this house at this point.
Did that estate company know about this? Is that why they had no problems just handing it to us?
You were very eager to buy this place off their hands, though.
I am most definitely not very eager now.
Why don't you think of it this way? At least now you know where those trespassers might be coming from.
I suppose you have a point. How far does this thing go?
Quite a few places, it seems.
There's only darkness on the other side. Fortunately, I'm sober enough to ever think of venturing into this place. Who knows where this'll take me? Maybe when I'm drunk I'll be curious enough, but Shrokin has made a valid point, and if this is their point of entry, we better look into it and bar it as soon as possible. We've had so many close calls just this week. I'm not taking a chance.
Well, get on it! I want wherever this place leads to closed and sealed tightly. We've gotten enough magical surprise trespassers in this house.
He makes no further comment, but the man does give me another long, suffering look before pushing the door open and stepping into the poorly lit tunnel. There's a bit of a struggle at first while he tries to get a stable footing, testing the steps with a few light taps of his soles. Soon he's on his way, his treads echoing loudly inside the empty passage. Curious, I follow after him without crossing the threshold. From where I stand, I can barely see anything apart from the cells closest to the door. There's a light draft blowing from the other end, carrying with it this old, musty smell. I don't want to think of what that might be. Merely looking into the cavern gives me the chills, as if in every shadow there's an eye watching me, calling for me. Eerie. There's no other word for it but eerie. The sound of Shrokin's footfalls abruptly stopping certainly does not help.
Shrokin, how is it?
Silence.
Shrokin!
I don't think Shrokin's alive anymore. From somewhere, something scampers. Its sounds quickly fading as it moves farther from me. Still, no response from Johans, however. As aggravating as that man is, I'm beginning to worry.
Johans! I know you're there!
Another breeze blows in. This time, it's as if there's someone whistling on the other end. Or maybe that's just my imagination.
Hey, Johans! If this is your idea of a...
I never get to finish that. Before the rest of it slips out of my mouth, without any preamble, the door slams shut. And reverberating among the loud thuds it leaves in its wake is a scream. Shrill. Blood-curdling. Almost harrowing the way it sends a sharp chill in every nerve in my body, and along with it is a familiar voice.
Who are you? No. Stay away. Stay away.
Goodbye, Shrokin. It was nice knowing you. I don't know what's going on the other side. With the door shut tight, showing no signs of bulging open once. No matter how much I push or pull at it, there's no way of knowing. However, the sound filtering through the closed doors is enough to make my knees buckle and shake. This isn't fear. I want to believe this isn't fear. But it's definitely the closest I can get to it. Horrid. It's nothing but horrid. But I can almost see flesh being ripped apart with every second the noise lingers. I need to get away.
Oh God. I am going to sue those people. I am going to sue every bloody goddamn person who sold us this house. I need to get my lawyer.
Stumbling back. The back of my shoe catches on something. My foot slips, sending me tumbling down on my hind. It takes a moment before I notice a wetness seeping into my pants, and another second later to realize it's blood. Makola's blood. And there's no moment left to feel repulsed by the thick metallic scent it sends into the air, and how Mint's eyes are blankly staring at me. Her laughter's getting closer. Without thinking twice, I'm picking myself up from the floor and scrambling for the larder. The smell of blood and rotting corpse be damned. 5 seconds flat, I've ascended and closed the hatch behind me. Bolting is shut with not one but 2 locks I can find from the cupboards and throwing the keys away. I don't even consider waiting if I've managed to keep whoever it is in there. The second the last lock clicks into place, I'm out of the damned kitchen. Running as fast as I can, as if any minute whoever finished off Shrokin will jump up from the cellar and grab me. At some point in my panic, I've also drawn my pistol. Closest thing I have to comfort after that. Who is she? Shrokin said he doesn't recognize her from my description. An outsider? A daughter of another businessman that holds a grudge against me? I seriously can't remember who, if she is. There are plenty of them. Well, there's Suarez, but Kylie's a darling child. She won't ever hurt Tio Luke. Who then? The only person I can think of right now who can give me answers is that little pig, who should be soundly asleep in the study. That fucking mongrel's in on this, isn't he? Working together with that woman, getting caught on purpose so he can distract us and get to me. And what of Hannah? What did they do to her? Are they also the reason why she's missing? He's a police officer. He likely has easy access to where they're keeping Hannah's corpse. A bullet to the head is the least he deserves for creating this nightmare.
That's right, my love.
He should be stoned to death.
You don't need them.
Burned.
Make them pay.
To make up for every single wrong he's done.
For all the wrong they've done to us.
Upon my entrance, the door leading to the foyer bursts open with a loud clap, accompanied by the rumbling of thunder outside. The downpour has intensified, and lightning streaks across the night sky more frequently than hours before. I ignore all of it, heading straight for the stairs with only one purpose in mind, and her whispers, leading me, calling me, beckoning.
We don't need them.
And short of my foot taking on the first step upstairs, a noise to my left distracts me, briefly halting my movements while curiosity takes over every murmur in my head. And it's a good thing, perhaps, that I did, because as soon as I look up, I see him. The detective. Just as he's about to jump down from the furniture that has somehow ended up piled up, blocking the door to the parlor. What happened there? Did he really think getting out of this house would be that easy?
Teach him, my lord. Put him in his place.
My feet's already moving before any rationale can stop me. A hand firm at my gun when I finally release the safety from it and take aim at him. My finger is on the trigger more than itching to shoot, but I hold back. More than seeing him bleed, I want to see the expression on his face once he realizes everything he's doing is futile. He's trapped. His life's in my hands.
Well, you aren't as incompetent as I thought.
I can tell the exact moment the realization dawns on him. A short second of his body freezing and blood draining from his face as soon as his feet hits the floor. He wastes no time drawing his own gun, but by then it's too late. He's already a prey, trapped by his own recklessness.
How pathetic.
Still he glares at me. Still he fights back.
Now, little pig. Manners. You're in no position to be pointing that gun at people.
There's no desperation in him like I'm hoping, just an annoyance flickering shortly before being hidden underneath a challenge. The likes of him are the kind of people I hate the most. Even with their failures already glaring down at them, mocking every worthless move they make, they have the impudence to stare people in the eye.
Why don't you put yours down first, and then we'll talk about manners.
Oh, he talked back. The gall! You know, your kind pisses me off so much.
Annoying most of the time, like a damn pest you can't get rid of. But to some degree it is commendable. I'll give him that. After all, we're almost the same in that regard. Almost. I'm still the better person, of course. He tells me to put the gun down, but I see no reason why I should. I'm a homeowner, in defense of my own home. I have the right to, I'd like to think. Questionable permit of firearms aside. Bloody peasants. Even knowing that, I can never seem to figure out how their minds fully work. And I should have also expected he wouldn't let this end in this kind of standstill.
Sorry about this. I really don't have time for you.
A short lapse, that's all it was. One moment of letting my guard down. Before I can react, he fires 2 shots in quick succession. A sound cracking through the empty foyer, almost as loud as the storm raging outside, breaking the tense air in the room. Pain explodes in my wrist, no 2 seconds later. Just a graze, however. It is enough to cause my fingers to tense and the pistol to slide to the ground with a dull thud.
Why, you insolent!
The next moment happens in a blur. In the following second, I am being tackled bodily to the ground, back hitting the cold, hard floor hard, and an arm pinning me down by the neck. There's a fleeting minute of panic and struggle while I try to untangle myself from him before he manages to knock me out. And then, a scream. A wail piercing through the thick air, shrill and sharp enough for the both of us to cover our ears and hunker down on our knees. And with each sharp note beating harshly against my head, are the images again. Faces and voices so utterly familiar, seeping into every crevice, turning sinister with each shift. They are not mine, but they might as well be with how vivid and crisp they appear. Over and over, they are all flashing behind my eyes until it becomes unbearable, pounding, throbbing, thudding against my skull, worse than any headache a hangover ever can give. Bloody. I'll take a hangover over this any day. A haze begins to fill my vision as black spots dance around the corner of my eyes. Beside me, the detective suddenly falls, muttering something quietly to himself as something distinctly red flows from under him. Blood, perhaps. In the blurry mess of my vision, it doesn't quite register. Nothing does. Except for the voice unexpectedly ringing above the discord. And when I finally gather the strength to look up, everything falls away into the background. All that matters is her.
I told you, didn't I? Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey. And now, you're dying. Meddlesome fool. How does dying alone feel, Ashton Frey?
Hannah? You're not supposed to be here.
For a moment, I wonder if it had been me who had died, not her. After all, that can be the only logical explanation as to why I hardly draw a breath while she stands there. Of course, another logical explanation would be that I'm high and this is a really, really bad trip. Either reason doesn't suit me. Though it can't very well be the former. Even from down here, I can see the blood that stains her dress. Seeing that makes me feel as if my hands are covering in them once more. Warm and sticky, sweet and sickly.
Oh, Luke, darling, my love. You look so upset. Are you not happy to see me?
But let's be honest here. Any explanation, any reason as to why a dead woman walks once more is a bad one to me. Especially when it's one that I've killed. I mean, how even? What sort of sick joke is this? Not that any of this still matters, weak as I am, with this headache crushing my skull, bearing down on me with a weight that leaves me gasping. Soon, despite my efforts to fight it, the entire room tilts forward and the floor rises to meet my face.
Don't worry, my love. Everything will be over soon.
Above the deafening din of thunder and the howling of the winds, her sickening laughter is the last thing I hear before the darkness spreads and claims me. Okay, now this makes me wonder what would have happened if Ash actually survived. My whole body seizes with a gasp violent enough to wake me. Just as soon, my eyes fling open, looking wildly around, searching for that familiar, sickening smile. There's a brief moment of confusion when I don't find her, and see only an empty room before me. The storm still rages outside, with a draft sweeping into the room from the balcony door I'd forgotten to close last night. A far-off horizon, lightning cuts sharply through the dark sky, illuminating everything in sight before disappearing with a boom of thunder at its heels.
A dream. It must have been a dream.
Yet, it all feels too real. The migraine still pounding in my head serves to remind me of that. Though maybe it's because I haven't eaten anything since this afternoon. Coupled with everything going on in this bloody mansion this past week, I no longer have any doubt what this is. Stress. Just stress. What else could it be? Everything will pass soon. This headache will be gone tomorrow, along with every fucking problem, and all will be well.
Fucking nightmares.
Expensive mattress and pillow feel heavenly under my tired body when I flop back down onto it. Burying my face into the soft Egyptian cotton and simply laying still makes the idea of sleep especially inviting. But with this irritating pounding in my head, it's impossible to get even a single wink of rest. Without the alcohol, I'm going to have it rough trying to calm down or sleep. I suppose now's a good time as any for that drink. Hannah won't approve, of course, but she's no longer here. Perks of being a widow and all that. I throw the blankets aside and rush outside before another bout of regret hits the pit of my stomach. She's gone. She's dead. Just like every other person in my life, nuisance or otherwise. Only I remain. Nothing else matters. It's dark, but the large window of the foyer illuminates the area much more easily than any of the other rooms. That's the smallest of blessings I can ever ask for, in the hopes that I can go to bed after this little trip without further incident. But I have to stop in my tracks as something catches my eye. Carefully, I draw closer and, on the floor, a smear. In the darkness, it's impossible to tell what it is, but it has left an ugly track, disappearing underneath the door leading to the dining room. Whoever left this here will have to answer to Johannes in the morning. He hates seeing mess, be it mud tracks or the tiniest drop of wine on the serving platter. Bastard. But now I follow it, letting it guide me in this darkness, even if it feels its purpose is anything but. Taking amusement in imagining how Shrokin's expression will change from surprise to disdain upon seeing it. However, I can only feel disappointment once I open the doors to the kitchen. There are only empty wine bottles, put aside to be cleaned and stored for a collection. And I can't be bothered to try and find out where Johannes has hidden the absinthe on Hannah's orders. Even in death, she continues to bug me like this, keeping me from my beloved wine. I do have other options, although I'd rather not go down the wine cellar myself, especially in the darkness. But when needs must be satisfied, can't be helped with that the need to wind back is monumental, right? And I really need this fucking drink. Even the smear seems to lead me to it. But like in the dream, there's still that horrendous smell in this place. It's really an awful stench. But it's not too far off from how dearest Hannah smelled until they've taken her to the morgue. Despite this, I can't bring myself to leave. So I sit down, looking at everywhere but the smears that have converged on one side of the wall. It only reminds me of the room upstairs where I briefly kept her. Why bother? There's also a pool of dark liquid near the wine vat, though I don't dare examine what it is. Some things I'd rather not know. Instead, I fixate on the colorful glass bottles that line the walls before I pull one out and pop open the cork from the bottle, taking a swig like I'm drinking water, or rather a huge chug of the stuff. There's some delight when I feel a delightful burn in the back of my throat and realize that it isn't exactly wine I have in my hand. Whiskey. How quaint. This explains where the rest of the alcohol was. I really shouldn't be drinking. It's dangerous enough as it is to intoxicate myself while there's a killer on the loose and Shrokin hasn't come back. I must look like some bum who's managed to scrounge enough money for a bottle of booze.
Hannah would kill me if she saw me in here like this. Probably say something scathing and witty you might as well shoot yourself in the liver, Lucille. Really now? She was such a nag.
Morbid mockery of a tale directed at no one. Soon, choking laughter rings out in the wine cellar. It takes me a bit to realize that I'm the one who's laughing. My cheeks are wet with tears, too. Because, damn it,
I miss her.
it's stupid and crazy of me to still feel this way. It's my fault she's gone.
I wonder how it is. Are you in here, Hannah? Can you hear me? How is it, huh? To die? It must have been dreadful, no? I can't imagine it. I very much don't want to.
Look at me, talking about the horrible inevitability that is death. How depressing. It's any wonder that I haven't completely gone off the edge yet. Or maybe I have and I just don't want to admit it. Could just be the alcohol. For a moment I have to stop drinking. The whiskey must have hit me harder than I thought. But then again, looking at it, I've nearly emptied the bottle. What's left of the amber liquid gleams hauntingly in the low light of the cellar. I really didn't mean to drink so much. I only wanted to take off some of the edge. But I might as well finish it off. Regret can always wait. Though it comes sooner rather than later when I feel my breathing become slow and irregular. My hands have long been cold and clammy. Around the time I was halfway through the bottle, but the urge to vomit has just started. Getting up to my feet is easier said than done. My coordination is basically shot to high hell with how much I've drank in one go. There is no doubt in my mind that trying to get up those stairs will be a struggle. But there's no way I'm going to vomit in here. I don't want the stench to throw up anywhere near my collection. The world spins even before I can get anywhere near the stairs, though. I have to lean on the wall to stay standing. That's when a curious click echoes in the cellar. I have to question if it's my alcohol-addled brain making up the facts that the door just appeared out of nowhere.
This is interesting.
He was not wrong. He is smashed and he's actually interested in checking it out now. Perhaps if I am in a more sober mindset, I'll think twice about exploring unknown territory. I remember being wary after seeing this place in my dream. Running even. But I can't kick my curiosity to the curb so easily, what with the alcohol making me more adventurous. Besides, what's the worst that can happen? You can find Shrokin. Descending even further, deeper into the underground leaves me reeling and disoriented.
What in blazes? What's going on with the devil down here?
He is so smashed. Looks even more horrid than the one in my nightmare. Torches and chains hang along the wall, and cells are set into the brick. It doesn't even occur to me to ask how the torches are lit. Because I won't even be exaggerating if I say that whole place reeks of death. I hobble along down the passage. One hand trails along the wall, the other still clutches the whiskey bottle I've emptied. There's a giddy feeling as soon as the shock passes.
If I knew this was here, I could have put it to good use. Maybe.
I have to stifle the drunk giggles that threaten to spill uncontrollably. It's a wonder for all the horrid things that might have happened here. And it opens a lot of questions about the history of the mansion. I'm no expert, but I don't think jails were a common feature in homes back then. How many people were locked up in here? What would they have even done to deserve this place? I can see little that speaks of its unfortunate inhabitants, though. Not until a particular cell draws my attention. Or rather, something in it. On the far left, there's a small pile of something in it. Thrown together in a small mound as if someone has just hastily dumped them here. It's impossible to tell in this low light. Is it Shrokin? Is it Ash? Is it Marianne? Is it the camera? Who knows? Belatedly, I realize that the dark smear from the foyer going into the kitchen and the wine cellar ends here. Okay, it's Ash. But that is not where my gaze lingers. A small stone gleams. Its dark color, a stark contrast to the hay-littered floor. Do not, no, you don't want that. It is such a simple thing that I could have passed it off as another ordinary stone if it wasn't for the symbols painted on it and the thick cord. And in my curiosity, I kneel down and stretch an arm through the bars to retrieve it. I'm quick to get back up to my feet, however, scowling at the dirt on my knees. The stone is cold and heavy in the palm of my hand. An interesting trinket, an accessory most likely. It is a shame I don't know what the symbol means. My amusement at the find is quick to fade, though, as the woman's laughter echoes in the passage. It's that woman's voice. I didn't need to look to know that it's her. But that's a problem, because I hear her, but I don't see her. I had been terrified when I first saw her, but they don't call alcohol liquid courage, or liquid stupidity in this case, as I seek her out. The trinket slips through my fingers, and in its place, my knife.
Where are you? Show yourself!
There are eyes on me, but every time I turn around, there is nothing. Nothing but a horrid feeling that buzzes under my skin. Anxiety overpowers the haze of intoxication and wraps its arms around me, suffocating and straining. But terror doesn't take hold until I hear a whisper in my ear, and a familiar arm comes from behind me to rest across my chest.
You've come for me, my prince. I am so happy.
You're dead. I have the necklace in my hand, so why are you wearing it? And I want to go home. There's a creeping feeling, as if there are hands running all over me. Something in me screams and snarls at the thought of being held down. This is wrong, it says to supply the obvious. Hannah's dead. She's supposed to be dead.
You came home to us, and with us you will stay. Our lord, my prince.
Get your hands off me! What do you want?
Though wrong doesn't quite paint a proper picture of what happens next. My scream is cut off the moment those hands push their fingers through my lips. I can't see what there really are as my eyes threaten to roll into the back of my skull and pain racks my entire being. I'm silenced and on the verge of choking, suffocating, drowning. I can feel everything. They crawl and slither down my throat like snakes, searching and filling every part of me, leaving soft skin and crushing my insides. My body shivers and the smallest movements bring the greatest of pains. I feel like I'm about to burst. But no matter how long we stay like this, death does not come to bring me relief. Up, down, and around they go until they all converge around my chest where my heart should be, and they squeeze. Tears flow freely from my cries, are muffled, and snot dribbles down my nose. I'm not in control of my body at all, and I think, this is it. This is how I die. But then there's nothing. Nothing but lightness, and air, and the feeling of being emptied out, scraped raw. Yeah, he did. I feel sullied and tainted, like I've been dissected, torn apart and put back in the wrong order. My cheeks are wet as I snivel like a snotty child. Bile rises in my throat and I want to be sick. I try and throw up any remnants of what may have been inside of me. I nearly forget about her and my devastated state, until she laughs.
Please. Please, no more. Please. Oh God, please. Somebody help me.
But her laughter only grows louder, echoing in my head. My heart seizes in my chest and I think he died. A curious local discovers an eerily empty mansion months later. With its new owners having disappeared into thin air, whispers quickly spread across Luxborn City. Officers who investigated it have found only smears of blood on the walls and floors, nothing else. Eventually, they have deemed the mystery of Ermengarde Mansion as another tragedy brought upon the city by the Anslim Butcher. But for those who still believe in the stories of old, and those who know the truth of it, it is but a testament to the curse and the secrets of Ermengarde Mansion has hidden for centuries. But if there will come a time those will finally be revealed, only the hallowed halls of the mansion know. To this day, it stands silent. However, on nights when the wind howls and thunder booms across the sky. Some still claim hearing a voice within, of cries and wails that fill the night, and desperate calls of help for anyone who dares listen.
Somebody! Please! Get me out of here! Help! Anyone! Help me, please!
And that's it. That is everybody dead. Damn. I think we'll sit through the credits this time just to see if there's any extra sequences. But yeah, wow. Talk about that. Like, wow. Everybody dead.
I didn't want to play. I thought there was a way out, but there's no exit from.
What does it say about me if I say that the ending where everybody dies is more satisfying than the ending I got in my first playthrough? I mean, it's possible because we unlocked a lot more of those scenes and we were able to see a little bit more, so we know what happened. But yeah, that was incredibly satisfying watching them all die. And I don't know how I feel about that. Not at all. Jeez. But yeah, no, that was great. Even if I feel bad about killing everybody off, that was pretty great.
Teal? Where are you, Teal?
He dead. He ain't coming back.
Teal? Please? She's here! She's still here, Teal!
Oh. And that would be the ghost girl.
Help me! Please!
Goodbye, Kylie. Okay, so I guess that kind of changes that. Let's take a look here. Sprites. Miscellaneous, we've got 100% of them. That would be, Ghost. First it's Hana, and then it's the ghost girl. So we've got that. Memory fabric commits. We've still got 2 that we haven't unlocked. I guess we'll find those eventually. And then we've got... We unlocked another epilogue. Individual bad. Luke trapped. Okay, so that's the one we just unlocked. That's kind of cool. Oh, we don't have any... we don't have the true ending. We don't have any of the romance endings, so that's fine. So we're missing 1 for Rebecca's chapter. And we're missing 3 from Zach's. And we're missing 1 from Isabella's. I'm gonna wager a guess, and the one that we're missing is actually the church, because I know she goes to the church in the first chapter. That's interesting. Let's see. The achievements that we have unlocked. Oh, there's this one. Nothing but memories. One thing constant. Thank the one person who's always been beside you, if only for the last time. Too little, too late. Finally say those 3 little words, if only for the last time. And then forward, Rebecca. So basically we discovered all endings of chapter 5. So basically there's nothing new for Rebecca, unfortunately. Easy way in. Find a way into BRC with the help of a friend, as well as half-baked knowledge. Get into BRC on your own. That's why it's full versus half. And then a shoulder to cry on. Fall from grace. There's no break in that fall. Yeah, so that's the that was what appeared when we discovered her body. Change of heart. Hear out the affection someone used to hold out for you. And then not right now was that one. Snitching letters. Retrieve the letter before heading out. Nice. That was us breaking into the police station. Requiescat in pace. Offer a prayer for the deceased. Broken spirit. Reject the voices whispering inside your head. Wails in the night. Late bloomer. A bitter pill. In the end, you are unable to do anything. Yeah, so that would be, that's the achievement you unlock if Ash is the only one alive by this point. Out of the lion's den, little thieves are hanging, but great ones escape. Swallow your pride. To a sudden end. Even for the last time, you can't even give her a reason to smile. So that was from the, like, going back and replaying the Ashton chapter from the first playthrough to see what happens when you do that. Undead, when the dead rise. Death smiles upon you, Hannah Wright. In his last breath, above the chaos, a lone heart beats one last time. The Grim Reaper. The morgue is going to be very busy this week. That means that Luke is the only one who's still alive. Cradle to grave. That's the reveal that that he was going to be a father. Horrors in a box. Living memory. Small talk. Have a little chat with a loyal servant in the house. That would be speaking to Ghost Girl. Trick of the eye. One big happy family. Till death do us part. And with us you will stay. That's Luke dying. And of course there's that. And of course there's that. Beyond the veil, some still claim hearing the voices within, and cries and wails that fill the night. Oh, and I guess that's it. So yeah, that's it. It's been fun. We will come back again, probably to do a run where both where Ash survives even after everybody else is dead. We'll see how that goes because I'm curious. I want to see what goes on with that, and if that is a means of keeping Luke alive. We shall see. We won't know until we try. And then after that, there's one more playthrough that I kind of want to do before we do Everybody Survives, and that's basically ticking off the third ending that we can get for Isabella. But again, that's all going to be down the grapevine because we are ending this video now. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like or subscribe. If not, leave a comment below letting me know what I can do to improve. And as always, until the next time, guys, don't piss off any spirits.